Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I think we just went viral, I heard. So we're excited and can't believe how fast the year has flown by. We're a couple weeks away from Christmas. This is insane. We're going to have a little break over the holidays, but we're back at it today to do a good weekend wrap up of sports. I remember you telling me that you were heading out to a ugly Christmas sweater party this weekend. How did that go?
I was the only one that wore one. That was
Oh,
awesome. Yeah,
Jesus
so
Christ.
that's how successful that was. Like I came in, I took off my stuff, and I was like, thought, you know what? Okay, forget it. And then plus on top of that, unfortunately, due to the busyness of everybody's schedules and it's getting close to Christmas and yada yada, it wasn't as many people as we would have liked to have joined up. It ended up being a smaller group of us,
Okay.
but whatever. It was still fun.
So were they pranking you that this was an ugly Christmas sweater party? Because why didn't everybody else do it?
Uh okay, I think some people were coming from somewhere else, so they didn't have a chance to stop by and grab their sweater. So they just came straight there. And then some just elected not to. And I was just like, because
Great.
since I always get grief from one particular friend if I don't do that. So then I did it and then she didn't. And I'm just like, well, okay. But I'm always the bigger person. I never give anybody else grief. They do what they like. I wore it.
Yeah. So you
So
stuck out like a sore thumb, but
sure
oh,
did. I
yeah.
most certainly did. It was awesome. Great.
That's
Great.
hilarious. The other big thing on the weekend for me was the UFC, the last pay-per-view card of the year. Can't wait to get in that and break it down with you. A lot of interesting scenarios that came out of that, and man, what a great year in the UFC. They had another successful card, and it's amazing. Like it seems like honestly, every year gets better in the UFC than the year before.
It does, but at the same time, there still seems to be some things that needs and improvements
Right.
that are still
Judging,
there.
judging,
That
judging, judging.
yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You mentioned it already. Like it's just that's the one glaring thing
Yeah.
that needs to be addressed at some point,
So
and it's
frustrating,
clear.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Geez, man, is it yeah, is it ever annoying? And it's crazy that they can't get it right. This is
Mhm.
a company that's making billions of dollars, raking in massive amounts of money and a lot of smart people involved in it. And they can't come to a solution that works and just doesn't change the outcome of fights, change the outcome of careers, affect gambling, affect a
Mhm.
whole pile of aspects of it, let alone the frustration that you feel as a fan of the sport. I know that some people have been tuned off of the sport because of it, and especially because I've seen it in boxing, where boxing has become secondary on the combat sports world in North America because of it and because of problems like it. And the UFC doesn't seem to make it such a massive priority like they should, because they could lose business, they could lose fans, they could lose sponsors, they could really lose a lot of credibility if they don't address it and fix it soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think more than anything else, they'll lose credibility
Yeah.
because now, okay, because UFC is heavily gambled upon. And if you can't trust what the outcome should be, what your eyes tell you what it should be, that's a problem. I think
Yeah.
that's a problem for the UFC, and that's a problem for everybody else.
I I put in fantasy lineups on DraftKings every week for the UFC, and there is one element to it that I don't know why this is the case, and I guess I should ask other people. But for some reason, I cannot look at where I stand during the fights. I can't look at where I stand here or here, up on a list, up on the rankings, um, compared to all the other sports. I can be constantly getting updated, seeing I'm in first place, I'm in 10th place, I'm in 2000th place, wherever it is in a group I'm in. And you can't do that in an MMA on DraftKings. And I find it really frustrating. And I find it that I really don't put money in anymore. I just do it really for free or for very minimal amount of money, because that element's gone. It really frustrates me, and it takes me away from watching the fights. And so, it has stopped me from spending money on it. And it's probably done the same for a lot of other people.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And rightfully so, because even for them, for these guys in Vegas that are doing the betting lines, if the judging's erratic, the judging's erratic.
Yeah.
And so that's why they don't do that. Because
Yeah.
they're just like, we can't even, we don't know what the judges are going to do from event to event.
Yeah.
No idea.
Just imagine if you had bet that Volkov was going to win, and who I thought was going to win, and you got completely robbed. Imagine if it cost you $10,000, $20,000, $100,000. You'd want to kill somebody. You'd be wanting to find that judge and murder them. Like, how ridiculous is it that somebody can have that much influence on somebody's life? And gambling is a risk, sure, but if you follow the sport and you see something that you really feel passionate about and want to win money at, because of your expertise, and it gets taken away from you because of a complete wrongdoing, it's just gotta be maddening, infuriating, and just I don't know where you take that anger, but it's gotta be just crazy. I didn't have any skin in the game for that fight, but that one was a robbery, and it's crazy to think of the people that put money on him and lost.
It was such a robbery. It was just absolutely ridiculous. Like, when the scorecards are being read, and then I'm like, split decision. No, that's not good. Like, and I knew it right away. I'm like, that's not good. Like, because now it means it's like he could lose this fight. In my head, I'm like, there's no way he should.
Yeah.
Because I thought he won the third round. So I'm like, nah, this shouldn't happen.
He's got it.
And then it did.
Yeah.
And if I'm Volkov, like, forget everybody else. If I'm Volkov,
yeah,
I think I'd have to appeal that decision. I'd be absolutely livid.
Yeah.
Absolutely livid, because there's no way I should have lost that fight.
Dana White said he apologized to him. That's gonna kind of ring hollow for a guy like Volkov and his camp, and everybody that's fans of his. In the heavyweight division, you don't really have to go on a huge winning streak to get chance at the belt, an opportunity, that you have there. He's getting long in the tooth. He's been in the game for a really long time. Does this, set him back a little bit? Because Dana White apologized and said it was an egregious error. Hopefully they get him back in there against some high-level competition and possibly even a title shot very soon. So, but it was, it was just really wrong. And Adelaide Bird is the judge that's mostly responsible for this glaring mistake, and she has an infamous reputation in the boxing world for screwing up a lot of fights with a wrong judgment at the end of it. And I'm amazed that she's still allowed to do fights after all the problems that she's had, all the controversies that she's created. They're still putting her in place, and she was always a boxing judge. She shouldn't even be an MMA judge, in my opinion.
I believe there was one particular boxing match that she was even suspended because of the judging of her scorecard.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't even know if the UFC has the wherewithal to say, we don't want you as a judge. I don't know if they're handcuffed because of like the state rules or the boxing rules of that state or whatever it may be. Yeah. I don't know that. But I know this. If they do have the power, she should not ever judge any more of your UFC events ever again.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Like that's what they should start doing. It's like some of these judges like, nah, man, you're out.
Yeah.
We don't want to see you again.
At least a 3 strikes rule or something, where maybe they have to be Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be something changed because, this ended up ruining the night of him. It put a bit of a black stain on the event, being one of the highlight fights on the card. And, it was just a really, terrible mistake that I just don't want to see anymore. So hopefully going into 2025, they're already talking about changing the people that are ranking the divisions. Maybe they can have an ability to start weeding out the problem judges, problem referees, and make the sport as good as it has been growing in so many leaps and bounds in so many areas. That is stagnating it in that area for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Like we just want to see this sport grow and be the best it can be with as little controversies as possible. Right. That's what we all want to see.
Yeah. So huge news came down the pipe yesterday. Juan Soto, the coveted free agent in baseball, has decided to move from the Yankees across town to the Mets. And he has been lured over with $765 million contract. It can reach up to $800 million if he reaches certain incentives over the length of the deal. The largest contract in professional sports history, I've been told, and it's incredible what he's been able to do. For a Yankees fan, it's a knife to my heart. Love seeing him there in the middle of the lineup with Aaron Judge leading the Yankees to the World Series, and just that incredible 1-2 punch, and going across town to the bitter rival Mets was really sad as well. Your thoughts that he was able, with him and his agent Scott Boras, was able to get this kind of money, and with Shohei Ohtani's deal, it was so sky high past anybody else's. You thought, okay, that's going to set the benchmark for a decade, for longer, and it only was not very long. A year later, all of a sudden, we've got a $765 million contract now in baseball.
Okay, first question for you: how many years is that over?
That one's 15 years, so it's not as much annual value as Shohei's.
Okay, all right. First off, you got to give it up to Scott Boras. Congratulations, buddy. Like, as far as I'm concerned, there's no way that I didn't think there was any way that he could have a contract that eclipsed Shohei's. Yeah. Because Shohei's brings a lot more to the table than he does.
Yeah.
But yet he still do it. So I give Scott Boras a lot of credit because I didn't think that was going to be a thing.
No.
And I give the Mets a lot of credit because they finally have said this. You know what? We're sick and tired of the Yankees outspending us. It's our turn now. We're going to outspend you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't know what the Yankees offered him, but it was probably somewhere in that wheelhouse. And the Mets just went, we'll just give you more money because we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is amazing. That they outspent the Yankees.
Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah. Steve Cohen, the owner there, has just changed the Mets culture. Unfortunately, it hasn't really worked out in a sense of they haven't got a World Series championship. A couple of years ago, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars, brought in a ton of free agents. Really, everybody tanked. They did a fire sale at the end of the season, got rid of everybody, went all in again this past season and made the playoffs, had an incredible second half, an amazing run, made it all the way into the playoffs, but got knocked out. This is their next swing at it, trying to climb that mountain again and knock off the mighty Dodgers, the Padres, the teams that are the elite in the National League. And anytime that there will be any crosstown games with the Yankees, they've got their guy now, and they can kind of thumb their nose at him. But the Mets have always been that redheaded stepchild, the secondary guy, just like the Clippers and the Lakers in LA. There's always been that secondary team that now if they can win a World Series, they can be perennially up at the top of the National League. It's a big coup for them, and all the power to them. The great thing about no salary cap in baseball is just spend to your heart's content and try to make it up if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Spend to your heart's content. And yes, now their team is markedly better, obviously, going into the next season with Juan Soto. Yeah. But they're still going to have a problem. Even if they make it to the promised land and make it to the finals, they're in there. I have a sneaking suspicion that I think the Dodgers are going to be right back there with them. Yeah. And they'll have to beat that team. Yeah. Don't know if they're good enough to beat them yet. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, totally amazing. I saw somebody break it down, and he's making for the next 15 years, he's making about $6,000 every hour, $6,000 every hour. So yeah, he'll be making about 12 grand while we're doing this podcast here. Lucky guy. That's a lot of cash. And yeah, Scott Boras, man, can you be my agent? I need some I need some money. I need some more money from someone. Okay, yeah, we got lots to talk about. We're going to talk about NFL Week 14. Kind of weird scheduling, mostly lousy morning games, and then we had some really good matchups in the afternoon. So can't wait to break those down. UFC 310, the last pay-per-view of the year, as I said, and college football, they had their final weekend with the conference title games. Can't wait to break some of those down. Did you watch College Game Day and the field goal kick that Pat McAfee throws money onto? Did you see how much money the kick was for this weekend?
I've seen it a couple of weekends, but I think I might have missed this weekend. I don't think it was the one, because I saw one where he literally doubled it again. Yeah. So that the girl picked her kicker, but I think that was a couple weekends ago, and they each won $200,000.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, McAfee decided to double it again, and it was $400,000 coming from him. And then he had Kirk Herbstreit next to him, so he convinced Kirk to also throw in $400K. They had an actor there visiting the set named Timothy Chalamet, and they said, "Hey, you want to pitch in too? Do you want to match us?" He said, "Sure." So all of a sudden, it was $1.2 million on the line, and the guy nailed it, and it just barely missed the left upright. It just went like that. And I looked at, and I could see him, McAfee, just go, whoo, and he looked over at Chalamet and goes, "Way to go. I'm glad he didn't hit it." And they sort of fist bumped each other. Like, I'm so happy he missed it. I wasn't really wanting to pay that out. So it was pretty damn hilarious.
That is hilarious. That is funny. Like, I love it when Pat puts these guys like
on the spot.
And there's like, yeah, so this is for like people that don't have any money. So you want to pitch in. It's like, I'm waiting for the one guy to go, "No, not really. I'm good."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm done. No, I'd rather spend 400 G's than something else, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, no, man.
Yeah, he just tests their manhood right away, and everybody goes, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Yes." Got some other sucker to join in. Like, they had the Dude Perfect guys the week before, and they threw in a whole bunch of money, and it was insane. But yeah, he just put Chalamet on the spot. Boom. Like 5 seconds later, the guy's kicking it. He must have been like, "Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please." Like, 400K is big for anybody. Doesn't matter, right? Shit.
Well, I would say that's just a little bit of money. You know what I mean? Like, unless you have like
Juan Soto could have been like, sure, boom, here you go.
Juan Soto or Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan's like, "I bet that on a hole in golf, so it's not a big deal to me." Yeah. Like, if you got people like that, yes, but even Kirk Herbstreit, he must have been like, how am I going to explain this to the wife?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was pretty nutty, man. It was insane. Yeah. Unfortunately for the kid, he missed. But Dr. Pepper had this promotion going on at a lot of these conference games, and they just brought these two kids up, college kids, and they just gave them these vats of footballs, and they had a big, huge Dr. Pepper can, and they had a hole in it, and they said whoever gets the most in the hole gets $100,000 towards tuition, and and they kept handing it out, and every time the one person won, they handed him immediately $100,000 check, and the person that lost got $20,000 for tuition too. So big money being handed out, $120,000 each game for tuition. Is pretty impressive, and that $100,000 is going to change a college kid's life for sure. A lot of them were talking about being doctors, trying to get further education, and it's expensive down there.
It's so expensive. Like it's their education that they have to pay for down there is way more than what we have to pay for up here.
Yeah,
it's to the point where it's just like, wow, you just want these kids to be in debt first,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So that whatever profession that they start in or wherever industry they start, it's like they're down in the dumps and they just got to dig their way out of debt first. And that happens with most, like 80% of all the students that are down there. I feel for them, man, because that stuff is super expensive.
Yeah, that's why it's great that there is scholarships, and a lot of these athletes, especially the ones we follow in football and basketball and stuff, are getting scholarships so they can come and play and try to make the pros. But okay, so we're going to talk about NBA Week 7. We've got the NBA Cup games coming up this week. They've broken it down to 8 teams now, and we'll be able to talk about those. NHL Week 9 was behind us, Week 10 ahead. A little bit of talk about that. The MLS Cup, the MLS season is finally done. The LA Galaxy beat the New York Red Bulls 2-1 on the weekend. They scored 2 early goals in the 9th and the 13th minute. New York got their goal in the 28th minute, and it was scoreless after that. Galaxy have now won their 6th MLS Cup, and impressive season for them. Really long haul. Can't believe soccer goes all the way into December. Pretty insane. But congratulations to the Galaxy for their win.
Yeah, congratulations to them. They did it. It was a hard fought season. Unexpected for me because I thought it would be Miami that would have won at the end of the day. But LA did it. They pulled it off.
Yeah. Messi got MLS Player of the Year, but he wasn't able to get his team all the way to the final after all the money they spent on him and Suarez and all the other guys. But amazing. LA won. The PGA had their final tournament of the year. This was called the Hero World Challenge. We talked about it last week. Tiger Woods tournament. Tiger couldn't play, but he was there. Great to hear him talk about trying to get healthy for next year. Guess who won this tournament?
Scheffler?
Yeah.
I just thought I'd just throw it out there. I don't know.
Yeah, good guess. He won his 9th tournament of the year. An absolutely phenomenal season. He just will be entering this coming week his 82nd week in a row as the #1 golfer in the world. That is 4th all time. Tiger Woods has the top 2 records, something like 284 weeks in a row and 264 weeks in a row. He's got a long way to go to match Tiger, but this really special tournament, it's only 20 guys. Scheffler was able to go into the final round down a shot to Justin Thomas. He ended up beating Thomas by 7 shots. Had a really fantastic final round. He got a $1 million check for it. Tom Kim ended up in 2nd place, $450K, and JT $300K for 3rd. If you finished last place, you still got $152,000. So pretty nice week, even if you finish last.
That's not bad. That's not bad. That's a pretty good payday for all participants involved in that event.
Yeah. The thing, Tiger Woods wouldn't commit, but he plays in a tournament called the PNC Championship, and he usually tees off with his son. It's usually fathers and sons or fathers and daughters, and he wouldn't commit to it, unfortunately, but hopefully him and Charlie can play coming up in early January. So that's maybe the next time we'll have a chance to see him. F1 finished their season over on this early morning on Sunday here. They were in Abu Dhabi. That was the 24th race of the year around the world. Incredible season, absolutely amazing. They had another really great attendance. 190,000 people were there for the race day. And McLaren ended up winning the constructors title. They were 21 points up heading into the final weekend. Ferrari was not able to catch them. Lando Norris ended up getting first place, securing the McLaren constructors title for them. That's their first constructors title since 1998. So 26-year drought, really long time. They were a few years back, they were just one of the teams that were like at the bottom, 9th or 10th, and just really not doing anything. This has been a remarkable turnaround, and we're able to capture the full title. When you win the constructors title, you get a bonus check of $140 million. So massive influx of cash into McLaren and that team. For finishing second, Ferrari got 131 million. Red Bull was third with 122 million, and down and down and down the list. But that's some big money, and this will help McLaren go for the driver's title next year as well as the constructors title.
Yeah, definitely. That money will definitely be well spent. That should help them try to grab both titles for the next season. Congratulations, McLaren, after 26 years. That's a long time. Long time for them to finally get back to the top.
Amazing, yeah. Ferrari was chasing them big time. Norris was first for McLaren. The two second and third place were both Ferrari drivers. Carlos Sainz was second. Charles Leclerc was third. Lewis Hamilton ended up in fourth place. He came back from 16th place to finish fourth. Leclerc came back from 19th place to finish third. Pretty incredible to watch both guys race through the pack. Lewis Hamilton, the greatest of all time. This was his last race for Mercedes after 12 seasons there. 6 world titles, 8 constructors championships, a record number of wins. He has 105 wins now in his career, 14 more than second place Michael Schumacher. Max Verstappen is down in third place with 63 wins. And Lewis is off to Ferrari now. Pretty incredible that he will be in the red cars with the red suits and repping the Italian team. Pretty amazing that his career has went full circle to Ferrari, and we'll see how he makes out there. He's getting a little long in the tooth. Don't know what he'll be like with these fast Ferrari cars, but sure will be fun to watch.
It will be definitely fun to watch. He's still one of the best out there. But we should appreciate this for what it is for now, because he doesn't have many more seasons or years left, I believe, in his career.
Yeah.
Winding down.
True, yeah. It'll be the last race for Kevin Magnussen, Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu. Those guys are all expected to be out of F1 next year. And Sergio Perez likely gone from Red Bull. Be a lot of changes, some new blood coming in. It's going to be, I think 2025 will be the greatest F1 season that we've ever seen. So many teams coming in that have a chance at the driver's title, at the constructor's title. This year was amazing with Max Verstappen won 8 of the first 10 races, and then he went like 2.5 months without a win. And all the other guys started winning and catching up. Incredible that Red Bull went from winning the constructors title last 4 years to being in third place this year. And yeah, I can't wait. Next season starts March the 14th, the Australian Grand Prix. It's only 98 days away for any F1 fans. So this is their 75th anniversary season, so it should be even extra special. 24 races on 5 continents, finishing next year at this time in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, what a year. It was amazing from March all the way to December. I loved it so much. I'm gonna miss it over the next few months, but 2025 is going to be incredible.
2025 is going to be incredible. It's going to be a lot closer, I think, for the upcoming season than it has been for previous ones, and it's going to come close. It's going to come sooner than you think.
True.
90 days. That's going to fly by.
98 days. Yeah, that seems that does actually seem pretty damn soon. So, okay, let's talk about the NBA. We have the group winners, the people that have made it into the next stage of the NBA Cup. We're going to have games starting tomorrow, 4 o'clock tip-off. The Magic and the Bucks. Magic are number 3 in the East, and the Bucks are number 6. So pretty good for them to be able to be in it. And then the next game is Wednesday. That's the Hawks and the Knicks. Number 7 Hawks against the number 4 Knicks. And then we have the second game Wednesday is in the Western Conference. We've got the number 4 Mavs against the number 1 Thunder. And then late on Wednesday, that's tomorrow, Tuesday, 6:30. And then the Wednesday game is the Warriors, number 5 Warriors against the number 3 Rockets. So tell me about, are you excited to see them all? One stand out more than the other? Magic, Bucks, Hawks, Knicks on the east side, Mavs, Thunder, Warriors, Rockets on the west side.
Warriors, Rockets. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I was more interested in the Western Conference than the East because it just seems that the better teams are in the West as opposed to the East for this so far this season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing like the Warriors, Rockets, because like those are just two definitely different dynamic teams out in the West. I'm very much looking forward to that. And then you said, but for the East, if I have to pick out of those teams that you mentioned, it would be the Magic and the Bucks are going against each other. That I'm looking forward to that because I want to see how the Magic attack the Bucks because the Magic, their defense is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So like they're going to put a lot of pressure there. I think Giannis will get his points, and hopefully if Dame has a shot going, he'll get his. But it's everybody else that's going to be a problem. And the Magic are defensively, they're very, very sound, very tough.
Magic were dealt a huge blow though yesterday. Franz Wagner ended up tearing his oblique muscle. Same injury that Paolo Banchero had, and it's put him out for a while. I don't know why these oblique muscles are being torn there down in Orlando, but he's stepped up, and the Magic have been phenomenal since Banchero's been out. It's really tough to have your top 2 guys now done. This might impact them for a while. Hope both of them can come back fairly soon, but a torn oblique is probably something that they're very careful with. Might take a while to see him back on the court.
Yeah, because it's going to take Paolo a while to still come back from the court from his. So that sucks. I did not realize that both of their main guys are down. Ooh, that's rough. Yeah, that's real. That's going to be very hard for the Magic to go through.
Yeah, no kidding. Their defense has been absolutely incredible. Their best defense in the league since early November. They've also had the best record since early November, 14-3, and they were 8-2 in their last 10. They're 17-9 on the season and looking phenomenal, but tough when you lose your top 2 guys. It's going to be hard, but very interesting to see. I can't wait to see that game. The Bucks have been they were horrible to start the year. They are on a heater right now, playing really well. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Giannis is playing well. Finally, Giannis and Dame have really seemed to figure out how to play with each other. And Middleton's finally back. I think this team is on the rise, and there'll be some, they'll be able to compete near the top of that Eastern Conference anytime now.
I think so. I think they were just trying to tread water and wait for Middleton to get back and get back healthy. And now that he is back, and now that they've been on this heater, I think the Bucks are ready to make some noise in the East.
Yeah. There's only one game tonight because of the NBA Cup. The scheduling is kind of funny once the NBA Cup kicks into this level. Some teams actually get one less home game now. Some teams actually have a lot more travel now. It kind of is a little bit crappy in that regard, but I think it'll be really exciting to see these teams playing very, very hard this week to try to get the next place. The next games after this week, top four on each side will be on Saturday. 1:30 tip-off in the East, 5:30 tip-off in the West. So, yeah, can't wait to watch the games. Can't wait to break it down with you this coming week. Only one game on the schedule today, and that's the Knicks visiting the Raptors. And this is the first game between the Raptors and the Knicks since the OJ Anunoby, RJ Barrett trade, and the ability for those guys to see their former teammates. Should be a lot of fun in Toronto. Welcoming back OG, who was, very big, incredible defensive force for them for many years. And I'm sure there'll be lots of love back and forth between all the guys.
I'm sure there will be, but there's also going to be competition, and the Knicks are definitely looking to hand it to the Raptors. I'm sure the Raptors will play them tough, but I expect the Knicks to win tonight.
On the Eastern side, the Cavs still lead 21-4 on the season, but only 6-4 in their last 10. They lost to Miami yesterday, and they've just really let Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero beat them. Went off. Unfortunately, Evan Mobley got hurt, and fingers crossed, it's nothing totally serious. They got out-rebounded by the Heat, I think because of his absence. They weren't able to, properly defend the Heat well, and I could see just having him off the court was such a massive difference.
It is a massive difference, man, because he provides so much for that team. Like he can be your point forward, so to speak. He helps bring up the ball, run the offense, and also too, you depend on him for his defensive capabilities and rebounding the basketball. Once that guy's gone, you really miss a part of your team.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah, it was so different. I was amazed at how much they had to change their game. Boston's still sitting in second place, only a game and a half back from the Cavs, 8-2 in their last 10, and rolling along as always. We talked about the Magic already in third. The Knicks sit in fourth place, definitely wanting to get a victory here, heading into that NBA Cup break and having an opportunity to go in playing the Hawks on Wednesday. I mentioned the Heat. They're sitting in fifth place, 7-3 in their last 10. The Bucks are 8-2 in their last 10. Giannis doing great. The Hawks are sitting in seventh, and then Brooklyn Nets are eighth. The last two, the other teams trying to get into the play-ins. All three are 10-15. Pacers, Bulls, and Pistons, 11 games back at first. All three teams kind of struggling, so we'll see. 76ers had only their second game all season with the big three playing. Embiid, Maxey, and George finally getting back on the court together. They are a tire fire, dumpster fire, whatever you want to call them. 7-15 on the year. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep these guys healthy or not, but nice to finally see this experiment on the court, but we need to see way more of it.
Oh, yeah, we need to see way more of it. Like, out of those three guys that you mentioned, I feel for Maxey the most, because he's the one that's basically been there from the beginning, trying to steer the ship. And just wondering, is like, hey, wonder when you guys want to step on the court and give me some help. Like, anytime. Anytime.
Please, rounding out the East, the Hornets, the Raptors, and the Wizards. Your Hornets, oh man, they are terrible. Oh man, it's rough there. The Wizards got their first win since Halloween on the weekend. 3-19 on the year. They were able to beat the Nuggets on the weekend, which is pretty shocking. Jordan Poole had a career night there, and I was pretty surprised they were able to beat Denver. I can't wait to talk about Jokic's night that night, but Let's just shift to the top of the NBA West. We got the OKC Thunder leading the way, 18-5. SGA and Jalen Williams. What an amazing 1-2 punch those guys have been. Hartenstein's doing his work in the middle, but Williams and SGA, wow, those two guys are so dynamic, really going to lead this team to very far places as the season wears on.
They have to. They're like, those are their leaders. Those are their offensive hubs that they depend upon so that they consistently have their offense going, and they're showing up. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and just waiting for when Chet comes back from his injury. Then they have their full complement of their team. As right now, their team is just, they're so good. They can beat you in so many ways.
Yeah.
They have defense. They have the offense. They can play any way that you want to play them. They can play tough. They can play gritty. They can play out with everybody shooting threes. Any way that you want to play, that they can play. They can match up.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. What a team that is. Incredible to watch. The Grizzlies are on a heater right now. Only 2 games back at first place, 17-8 on the year, 9-1 in their last 10. But the injury bug has hit them. Desmond Bane has been out. Ja Morant actually got hurt yesterday. He's got some back trouble. Didn't play yesterday. Sorry, he was hurt the game before. Didn't play yesterday. But he said earlier this season that he was not going to dunk anymore. And then he did that incredible reverse dunk on the weekend that went viral. That has been incredible to watch. And it's amazing the hops this guy can get and the spectacular dunks that he can provide. I hope he was just joking around about not dunking anymore, because I love seeing when he gets in the air and the creativity of the dunks that he can provide.
Yeah, because it's amazing. Like, he's just, it looks like he's floating on air, right? Like a certain somebody that we used to watch all the time, Michael Jordan. But anyway, he is amazing. I do, like yourself, hope that he was just kind of joking with that. But I think there's a little bit of truth to that, because I think to some extent he's just like, I don't want to push my body too hard. So if I could dunk it all the time, or I could just lay it up, right? And I see that. I understand why he's doing that. It's just to save the body from unnecessary pounding. Yeah. But every once in a while, you're just going to have to break it up. You're going to have to break out that huge dunk, get the team going, get the fans into it. Yeah. It's going to happen.
Yeah, this team is fun. They got a bunch of guys out. Zach Edey's still out. A bunch of other guys not playing. But, yeah, they're playing incredibly well right now. Hopefully they can get very healthy and keep on this run. Rockets sit in third, 16-8. Jalen Green and Amen Thompson are the 2 guys that are actually providing a ton for the team. Sengun has been fantastic, but I love seeing what Green and Amen Thompson have been providing. Amen came in as a very high draft pick, really didn't get a ton of opportunities until recently, and he's really running with it once he's had this chance.
Oh yeah, man! Like, he's amazing. He's an athletic freak, and he's got the great defense, man. And the Rockets, like, as I've said before, they have something. It's there, and it's very visible now because they're third in the West. And if they just can continue to grow, maybe grab a couple more pieces at the trade deadline, I think they're going to be a real problem when it comes to playoffs.
Yeah. The other guy that I'm really liking on that team is Jabari Smith Jr. too. He's providing a massive amount to them. Very fun to watch. The Mavs are sitting in 4th place, but rising up the ranks, 16-8 on the year, 9-1 in their last 10. Incredible performance yesterday from Luque, 30 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, another triple-double. Kyrie chipped in with 29.6 rebounds, 4 assists. And when these 2 guys are both performing that well, very hard to beat this team.
If they're both rolling, that's the result. Yeah. 9-1. Yeah. That's the result. But they both got to be playing. Both got to be available, because I know Luque was injured there for a bit, so their record was not as good as what it should have been. Yeah. But now that he's back and he's playing, well, that's your result.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
Did you get to see the night by Draymond yesterday? He ended up throwing down this electrifying dunk to finish off the game yesterday against the Wolves. and he pulled out the Steph Curry. He said he actually checked with him before, asked him, "Can I do this if I do something great at the end of the game?" And Steph's like, "You got it, buddy. Go for it." And so he pulled out Steph's old night. It was amazing. Steph hit a 40-foot buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter, and it was spectacular as always. But this team is really starting to gel quite well. Draymond's been okay. It's, accepting a bench role coming off the bench because Jonathan Kuminga has now been put into this starting lineup. And yeah, with Steve Kerr putting minutes restrictions on almost everybody, utilizing his entire bench, this team I think will be very fresh and healthy going forward, having a really good second half. But yesterday's game was fun, super spectacular. Reminded me of some of the good old days of the Warriors.
Yeah, exactly. Steve Kerr, he's a brilliant man. He's very smart, knowing that my aging stars, I need to have them ready for the tail end of the season as opposed to the beginning. Yeah. And the fact that he's willing to use the entirety of his bench and knowing that his bench is up to the task, I think that's the genius of Steve Kerr. And the fact that the Warriors are now, they've dropped a bit in the standings, but they're still top 5 in the West. Yeah. They're 5th.
I can't wait for that game on Wednesday. Tip-off is 6:30 Wednesday. Can't wait. Warriors Rockets should be absolutely incredible. The Clippers sit in 6th. Nuggets sit in 7th. Jokic has decided, okay, guys, you're not helping me out scoring wise. Usually I'm more of the facilitator, let you guys get the glory of the points. This weekend, he just said, no, I'm going to score as much as possible. On Sunday, he had 48 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists. No triple-double, but 48 points. The game before, 56 points, 16 rebounds, and 8 assists. And that was in a loss to the Wizards. Like, can somebody else help me out, please? It must be so tough for him being the one-man show, but he scored over 100 points on the weekend. I think only one guy in history has ever done the kind of numbers that he's putting on, and I think that was Oscar Robertson. And back in like the 1960s, nobody's had a weekend like Jokic just had since Oscar Robertson back in 61, I think they said. Incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like right now he's playing as if, well, he's playing like he's going to be receiving his 4th MVP of the league right now. Yeah. And it's kind of hard to say that there's somebody playing better than him at this point in time, because as far as I'm concerned, there is nobody playing better than that guy right now. He is playing out of his mind because he has to, because he doesn't have any help. And the guy that he should be looking at should be his running partner that should be helping him right now is Jamal Murray. And unfortunately, he is nowhere to be found.
No, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. So he's 2nd in the NBA in points per game, 32.3. Leads the NBA in rebounds per game, 13.6. And 2nd in the NBA in assists per game, 10.2. So averaging over a triple-double, top of the league in all 3 categories, and absolutely amazing to watch. I just love watching all their games. I can't wait for the rest of the season. And yeah, he's at this point, he's a shoo-in for his 4th NBA MVP. So, okay. T-Wolves, Anthony Edwards got his 7th fine this year already. 7th fine. He's been a little bit ornery and pretty pissed off that the Wolves are down in 9th place. When I saw that 7 fines already this year, I was like, that's crazy. That's kind of Draymond Green territory.
Yeah, it is. It is Draymond Green territory. Just as long as he doesn't get up to our man Rasheed Wallace territory, then he should be fine. Now, is he getting these fines for like are these techs, or is he cussing out the refs? Like what's he doing?
So many things. Lots of cussing out the refs, lots of flagrant fouls, lots of problems, lots of issues, lots of difficulties. Yeah.
I think that's purely from frustration.
Yeah.
I think he sees the worth of his team and he knows that they should be better. But I think because of the new players that are now a part of the team with DiVincenzo and Randall, I think they're still trying to work their way within the team, into the offense, to try to figure things out. Because the way that Randall plays is very different from the way that Karl Anthony Towns play.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to figure that out.
That's true. Yeah. One last note for the NBA. Chris Paul was able to become second all-time on the assists lead career-wise. He passed Jason Kidd yesterday. 12,099 assists to become second of all time. 20 seasons in the NBA. Absolutely incredible career. It will take him, at his current assist rate, it'll take him 435 more games to catch and pass John Stockton. That would mean 82 games, 5 years in a row to get there. So that record is untouchable right now. But be happy with second place. Pretty incredible for a Hall of Fame career. We mentioned Paul last week, but had to mention him again this week, getting that amazing distinction. Don't be sad that you're going to be second place for a long time.
Yeah, like don't be sad at that, because there's no way that you're going to catch John Stockton.
No.
Just like there's no way that anybody that does steals is going to catch John Stockton again.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. Just be happy that you surpassed Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
That in itself has a ton of merit. So
yeah.
You're good.
We talked a few months ago about a possible Saudi World League basketball, and the NBA has heard us, listened to our podcast, jumped out and contacted FIBA and said, let's get a league going ourselves to stop those assholes from doing it. And there's been some serious discussions about the NBA and FIBA getting together and having a European NBA league. They're going to try to compete against the current Euro League, the other leagues, the Liga ACB and the LNB Elite. And I hear that they're really wanting to put this forward to stop the Saudis from maybe infiltrating and losing a bunch of players to that league. And in the coming weeks, I can't wait to hear how this is going to come together.
That's good. That's great. That's great for all professional basketball players across the planet, because that's just another league where you can grow and make your money and make your cash and just make your legend and all that sort of stuff, which is a great thing to see.
Yeah.
But the thing that I find funny though is the Saudis are going to be creating this league, right? They've kind of already infiltrated the NBA. Emirates.
Yeah.
NBA Cup.
Yeah, right. That's smart.
Emirates.
Yeah.
NBA Cup.
Yeah.
I think they already know. It's like, they're making their move already.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
It's not going to be called the Larry O'Brien anymore. It's going to be called the Emirates NBA. Well, what are they going to? Yeah, you're right. They've let them infiltrate. So don't open the door a little bit, because they're just going to knock it right down. Come right on in.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
It's already happened.
Okay, let's turn to the NHL briefly. We have the 3 stars of the week, and they had massive announcements last Wednesday for the Four Nations Cup that's taking place in February. Team USA, Team Canada, Team Sweden, and Team Finland all were made to name their rosters. I don't really know why. I think it was a very stupid move that you have to name your roster 2 months out from a tournament, because there's going to be injuries. There's going to be guys hotter at that time of the year, at that time of the season. It seems pretty dumb that they forced them to make their roster decisions 2 months out.
It's kind of weird. Like I guess they want to make sure that they have, like, I guess all the teams involved will have like their full complement of players or whatever. Like they just want to know what the numbers are. But at the same time, I would want to make my roster closer to the time of the event so that I can pick the players, like, as you already mentioned, that are on a hot streak.
Yeah. Seems like a no-brainer to me. But We're going to talk about that briefly, but I'll talk about the first stars of the week. All three first stars were actually named to their specific country teams for this Four Nations Cup. So Matthew Tkachuk was the first star of the week. He's obviously the captain of the Florida Panthers. He had a phenomenal week. He led the league in goals, assists, and points. He had a 4-point game, a 5-point game. He had 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 points, and led the team to a 2-0-1 record. Man, he is looking amazing. He got named to Team USA along with his brother Brady, who plays with the Ottawa Senators. So pretty cool. There are some brother acts on the teams. The Hughes brothers are both named to the Team USA, Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes. And pretty amazing how much fun it's going to be for these guys to put the Team USA jersey on and play for their nation with their brother.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great for every player that gets to play for their nation and stuff, and it's just gonna be a ton of fun.
Yeah. Second star went to Braden Point. He's not named to Team Canada's team. He had a phenomenal week with 2 goals, 6 assists. He has contributed or scored the last 8 goals that Tampa Bay has scored. They played yesterday against the Canucks here in Vancouver, beat them 4-2, and he was in on all 4 goals. This guy looks amazing right now, and his coach is the coach of Team Canada, John Cooper. He was able to name Rick Tocchet, an assistant coach, with him, so there's a Canadian flavor there, a Vancouver Canucks flavor. Pretty wild to see. Really glad to see Braden Point named to the team. He helped Tampa Bay win 2 straight cups and is still top of the league. Really doing well. Had a fantastic week, and it must be so awesome to hear your name being called. You're part of Team Canada again.
Oh yeah, no, it's quite the honor, but it's honor earned. It's earned for every one of these players. So you should be very happy that he's once again been given that honor and that he can represent his country again.
Third star of the week went to Las Vegas goalie Aiden Hill. He's also named to the Canadian team. He will be one of the 3 goalies for this 3 Nations Cup. He had a 2-0 week, won 2 games, no losses. He only allowed 2 goals in the week, stopping 66 of 68 shots for a .977 save percentage, and got his 9th career shutout, beating the Oilers 1-0 over the weekend, and he's 6-1-1 in his last 8. Vegas hits 2nd place in the Western Conference, and looking really good. Great to see that Aiden Hill's on the team. That's a kid from Port Alberni over on the island, so nice that we got a BC flavor there. I want to talk about Team Canada's team. We've got incredible guys up the middle. We've got Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Sidney Crosby, and Anthony Cirelli, 4 centers that are better than any team by far that we've ever seen. It's going to be incredible just to see those 3 guys on this team. And when you have a hockey team, the guys up the middle make such a difference. I can't believe the guys that we've got here on Team Canada that have been named to the team.
Yeah, that's going to be the difference maker, I think, right there and then, because by far and away, out of all the teams participating, we have the best centers.
Yeah. Period.
It's not even
so yeah, I saw somebody put together some possible combinations. I really like this. I really like this person's ideas of the lines. We'll see how it works when John Cooper takes over and his assistant coaches have see if everybody's healthy. But they're talking about Braden Point, Connor McDavid, and Sam Reinhart on the top line. Brandon Hagel, also from Tampa Bay. Nathan McKinnon and Mitch Marner from the Leafs on the second line. Crosby with Marchand, who he's played with before in international competition. And who else? I don't know who they had playing with him. But that third line, checking line, Sam Bennett, Anthony Cirelli, and Travis Konechny. They've got a 13th forward, Seth Jarvis, who's really, really great. Definitely great defensively. So Yeah, and then defensively, speaking of that, ended up picking 7 guys. Two of the partnerships are guys that play together on their club teams. We've got Devon Tays and Cale Makar from the Avs, and then we've got Shea Theodore and Alex Pietrangelo that play together on Vegas. So pretty smart. You get used to your defensive partner. Great to have him come into the tournament with you. The other guys are Morrissey and Pareko on the defensive side. And then I mentioned Aiden Hill as the goalie, Jordan Binnington, the other guy, and Sam Montembeault from the Montreal Canadiens is the third goaltender. So super solid team. Not all the top guys that are scoring all the points that are, top 25 in the NHL scoring. A lot of checkers, a lot of guys that can fill roles, guys that can play limited minutes because the top lines are going to be on the ice so much. So really brilliant. I love the I love the lineup. I love the roster. I think Canada's going to do very, very well. It's going to be super fun to watch.
Yeah, I think they're going to do very, very well. At the end of the day, you always have to remember it has to be the team has to work like a team. You can't just be all the top players and everything else and just mishmash and throw them together and hope for the best. They got to look like a team. They got to operate like a team. So I like what they've put together for this team.
For the Team USA team, I mentioned them briefly. Kachuk and the 2 Kachuk brothers on the same team. The 2 Hughes brothers on the same team. Also, Canucks JT Miller has been named to the team. So the Canucks have Quinn Hughes and JT Miller on the American team. They've got up the middle Jack Eichel, Austin Matthews, Dylan Larkin, and Brock Nelson. Pretty solid core there. Great defense with Hughes, McAvoy, Slavin, Adam Fox, Werenski, and Brock Faber. And then their goaltenders are really strong. Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ottinger, and Jeremy Swayman. Super solid team. Looking very, very good. Going to be hard to beat. I think that the USA-Canada games are going to be epic. Some of the best hockey we've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's going to be very fun to watch. A lot of fun.
And then the Canucks are represented both Sweden and Finland. We've got Elias Pettersson, one of the top centermen for Sweden. And on the Finland side, we've got our goalie Kevin Lankinen having such a fantastic start to this year. It ended up getting him nominated and asked to be one of the goalies on the Finland team. They've also got Jussi Saros and Jukka-Pekka Lokinen, but congratulations, Kevin Lankinen. Really nice that he got an opportunity because Demko was still hurt and was able to get onto the roster and into this tournament. Really fantastic seeing another Canuck going to be able to represent them.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. Great that he made it onto the team, but he earned his spot again through his excellent play.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, the Canucks ended up losing 4-2 to Tampa Bay yesterday. They play the Blues tomorrow. That's their next game on this road trip. We'll see if they can come together. It was crazy down there, I hear, because of Taylor Swift, and you didn't get to go to any of those 3 concerts she put on this weekend.
Yeah, you know what? I guess I just passed on spending $3,000 to $4,000 for a ticket. I don't know. I know I'm a weirdo, and I should have just forked out the money. But I was like, you know what? I think I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, it was insane the money that was being asked for, and it was craziness. But yeah, I'm glad it went off without a hitch. No problems. She's finished her nearly 2-year tour. I think it brought in around $160 million to the local economy. So thank you for coming, Taylor. Thank you for blessing our city and making a stop here in the Lower Mainland. And one last thing I wanted to mention about the Four Nations Cup, and the reason why it's Four Nations Cup is because no Russians are allowed. Those cheating bastards cannot be involved in any more of these international competitions. Else there would have been a World Cup and there would have been teams from many other countries, but they did not want to invite any Russians, will not be able to play. If you have Russians in your fantasy hockey, I would probably play them in the second half, they'll be a little maybe more fresh. And or unless they just go back and drink a lot of vodka, hang out, and don't really train. But good that Russia's not in there. This Four Nations Cup is for countries that treat their people well and don't be warmongers and all that kind of crap that you guys do. So this is going to be great, and I'm glad Russia's not involved.
Yeah, man. Like it's end of the day, like it's also representative of the fact that like we prefer peace, not war.
Yeah.
Period.
Big time. Period. Yeah. Okay, college football had their conference title games this weekend. It was pretty damn awesome to watch so many of them. They considered this week 15 of 16. So this was the last chance for many of these teams to get into their championships and win it all. The biggest game on the schedule was the Big Ten championship. That was number 1 overall in the nation, Oregon, facing number 4 overall in the nation, Penn State. Oregon won 45-37. Amazing game. One of the Heisman Trophy finalists, Dylan Gabriel, had a fantastic game, throwing for 283 yards and 4 touchdowns. His top receiver had 11 catches, 181 yards, and a touchdown. His name is Tez Johnson, and he won the MVP of the bowl game, of the title game. And they also got 2 touchdowns from Kayan Sadiq and 1 from Terrence Ferguson. Their top running back had a couple touchdowns. And wow, this was a shootout. Hell of an amazing game. One of those games that makes you happy that you watch college football, because it was like who touched the ball last is going to win. And Oregon was able to stay undefeated, stay number 1 in the nation, and win the Big Ten championship.
What was the final score of the game?
45-37.
Wow. That's an excellently played game. That's it has everything that you want. Yeah. High stakes, and the fact that it's offense, and more offense. A lot of fun.
It was really great. Penn State played really well. Their quarterback threw 3 touchdowns, had 1 rushing himself, and then his top running back had 124 yards and a touchdown. Top receiver had a lot of yardage. They got touchdowns from a lot of different guys, but they were not able to beat the number 1 team in the nation. Oregon gets the number 1 bye into the playoffs, and I'll talk about who they play next. The other huge game was the SEC championship. That was number 2 Georgia against number 3 Texas. Georgia ended up winning 22-19 in overtime. Trevor Etienne, his brother plays in the NFL. Etienne was able to come back from injury. He missed a bunch of the season. He was able to lead the way with 16 carries for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns, 5 catches also for another 28 yards. He was needed because their quarterback, Carson Beck, ended up getting injured, getting taken out of the game, couldn't play the second half. They had a rookie have to come in and lead the offense. His name is Gunnar Stockton. He led the team in the victory and played really, really well himself. Their MVP of the game was their defensive player, Dalen Everett. He had 2 picks and was able to be the difference. But Etienne and Everett both were the reason why Georgia was able to get the 22-19 win in overtime.
Yeah, that's impressive. Georgia manages to hang on. And I do have to say, for that rookie quarterback that stepped in for Georgia, what a great quarterback name. Yeah. Gunnar Stockton. Doesn't get any better than that.
No kidding. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, his parents probably knew he was going to be a QB and named him that way. You got Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers had a fantastic game himself, 358 yards passing and a touchdown. Unfortunately, he had those 2 picks, then that seemed to be the difference. He had 2 great receivers. One guy had 8 catches, Matthew Golden, 8 catches, 162 yards, and DeAndre Main Jr. had 9 catches, 114 yards, and a touchdown. The ACC championship was a great game. Clemson ended up walking off SMU 34-31. SMU had made a furious comeback to tie the game, but then their kicker, Nolan Hooser, ended up kicking a 56-yard field goal as time expired, and Clemson was able to get the huge win and get a berth into the college football playoffs.
Huge win, massive win, and also too, what a great kick by that kicker, because you don't expect college kickers to hit a 56-yard ball.
No, that was very impressive, incredible for him. Their quarterback, Cade Kupnick, had 4 touchdowns through the air. Bryant Westco Jr. had 8 catches, 143 yards, and a couple touchdowns. And their other receiver, Jake Brenningstool, had 2 touchdowns as well. SMU, their quarterback, Kevin Jennings, wow, this guy was great. He was a portal transfer guy, came in, didn't play at the beginning of the season. They brought him in. He was undefeated, and in his entire run, won 9 games going away, and had an absolutely amazing game. 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, scored a touchdown rushing himself, and this guy is unreal. His running back, Brashard Smith, I can see him in the NFL for sure. He had 24 carries, 113 yards, 6 catches for 34 yards and a touchdown too. And yeah, he had a few good weapons there, but SMU still, even though they lost, they made the playoffs as well. Very impressive season from them, and I'm looking forward to seeing Jennings play some more. This guy's electrifying, and I can see him in the NFL as well.
Yeah, man, it's cool. It's cool to see these kids like just playing so hard, playing for their dreams, and just doing so well in these must-win games, must-win situations.
Big time, yeah. The Big 12 championship was just kind of a blowout. Arizona State ended up crushing Iowa State 45-19. Sam Levitt had 3 touchdown passes, 1 touchdown running. Their beast running back, his name is Cameron Scatabo. The guy is insanely stocky, just a beast, impossible to bring down. 16 carries for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, 2 catches for 35 yards and another touchdown. He was told that he wasn't going to make the NFL if he stayed the way his body was. He lost 15 pounds, put on a bunch more muscle, and you give him the ball, he's not getting brought down. He was breaking tackles like you couldn't believe. I saw him quite a bit this year, but I think he was at his best in this game. Really one of the main reasons why they just blew him out.
That's awesome to see. And it's great to see that the young man took what they had to say seriously, changed his body type, and look at the results.
The other guy that was good for them was Xavier Guillory. He had 2 touchdown catches, and yeah, impressive performance for Arizona State. Iowa State had a good game as well. Rocco Brecht, it was good. Jaden Higgins, and they just were overmatched, I think, in this game here. The Mountain West Championship was won by Boise State. You and I have been following Boise State, and I haven't really followed Boise State for many years. But because of Ashton Gianti having such a phenomenal year, it's been fun to watch this team on the blue field and all the fans in there. They only won 21-7, but Gianti was huge again. 32 carries, 209 yards with a touchdown, and he's put himself even a little bit closer to that Heisman because of Colorado being out, not having a chance at this game, having a chance to showcase Travis Hunter a little more. Gianti getting even closer to Barry Sanders' record, and maybe swaying a few more voters. It might be a little closer and tighter than people were thinking a few weeks ago. Gianti really balled out again.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's the guy that I thought would win the Heisman. Even though Travis Hunter is right there, he has been absolutely amazing this year.
Oh yeah, incredible. And the final game, the AAC Championship, had Army beating Tulane 35-14. Their quarterback, Bryson Daly, this guy is bizarre. Like Army, out of the entire nation, I think they threw the least amount of passes out of any game. Out of the 135 teams, I think, in the FBS, he threw the least amount of passes. This game, he only threw 2 passes, completed them both. The receivers ran a lot around, didn't do much. He had 25 carries for 126 yards and 4 touchdowns. The quarterback, that's what he did. So you just know he's not throwing the ball, he's just running it, but you can't do nothing to stop it. And his coaches really asked for him to be in the Heisman consideration as well, because he's put up such crazy numbers. I wish he just threw the ball a little bit more, be a little more balanced. Maybe he'd even have bigger numbers, to be in that Heisman Trophy consideration. But 2 passes, 2 completions, but 2 passes in the entire game.
Yeah, well, that's pretty funny. I like that. I guess that's your definition of running quarterback. Where I run and I really don't pass.
Even his running back had 20 carries. His name is Kanye Udo. 20 carries for 158 yards and a touchdown himself. So they are a running team for sure. And it was fun to watch. Well, this is week 16 now, technically week 16, last week of the year. They really only have one game this weekend, and that's this Saturday. Army hosts Navy. That goes 1 o'clock Pacific time, and that's the last game of the season. Also, later on that day, they have the first bowl game of the year. It's the first one of 43 bowl games. 43! I never realized that it got up to that many. Some of them I can't even recognize anymore because their title sponsor is this and that, and who knows where the hell they even are. But this bowl game on Saturday has South Alabama facing Western Michigan. They were both 6-6 on the year. Don't know anything about them, but if you want to watch some college football, it's starting this Saturday, and there's 43 bowl games ahead. The college football bracket has been set, and this is going to be a phenomenal thing. We've been talking about it so much this year. 12-team playoff. Can't wait. Oregon gets a bye, and they play the winner of number 2 Georgia against number 9. Oregon gets the bye. They face the winner of number 8 Ohio State against number 9 Tennessee, and that's on Saturday, December 21st is their game. Georgia, number 2, plays the winner of number 7 Notre Dame against number 10 Indiana. That goes Friday, 5 p.m., December 20th. The number 3 Boise State gets a bye. They play the winner of Penn State and SMU. That's also Saturday, 9 a.m. And then number 4 Arizona State gets the bye, and they will play the winner of number 5 Texas against number 12 Clemson, and that's on Saturday, 1 o'clock Pacific kickoff. So Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, Arizona State get the byes for winning their conferences, and those other teams are going to have to fight it out to try to get into that next round of games.
It's going to be exciting, man. It's going to be great. I love the fact that it's extended now, like it's 12 teams, and it's up for grabs. It's up for grabs.
The other big news in the college football world is Bill Belichick met for 5 hours yesterday with University of North Carolina and their football department, trying to see if they can convince him to become their head coach. Are you surprised?
I heard the rumor, and I was just like, is that real? Like, because if they're actually serious about talking to Bill about him running their program, it's like, do you have enough money for that? That was actually my first inclination. That was literally my first thought. It's like, you have enough money for that. But seeing as how the landscape of college has changed, and now you pay players now legally above board.
Right.
Yeah, I would imagine that they should have enough money.
Yeah.
They, at the end of the day, that's Chapel Hill. That's North Carolina. That's Tar Heel Blue. So if they can convince him to do it, that would be a major feather in their cap if they can convince him to come over.
Yeah, I heard him a bit on Pat McAfee today, and he wouldn't tip his hat if he was going there or not. It's crazy that you'd meet for 5 hours with someone if you weren't kind of interested and wanting to see what's going on. I guess his dad coached there when he was a kid, and so that he has a little bit of a tie there. His dad left North Carolina and coached Army for many years after that, but he has a little bit of a tie with North Carolina. And North Carolina has always been known as a basketball team, not really the football program. So they might really want to be able to bring their program into that type of exposure, like Indiana did this past year. Indiana, has always been that basketball team. Suddenly they're in the college football playoffs this year, had unprecedented amount of exposure that they've had on their football team for my entire lifetime. And, this might be something that UNC is seeing, another basketball college, turn to football and utilizing it as a revenue source and trying to get, on the world stage, on the college landscape with the greatest of all time NFL coach.
Yeah, they see an opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, the only question I have is if Bill is willing to do the hard work and sell himself to these potential kids coming out of high school. Can he do that?
Yeah.
Because I know what I've seen on TV. All right. They need that Bill Belichick, the engaging one, not the one you see on the podium. They don't need that guy.
Don't need that guy.
Not the guy.
Yeah, hopefully that guy's dead. Hopefully that guy's gone. Hopefully he's dead and buried, and we don't see that Bill Belichick ever come around again. I think maybe he's learned his lesson after 32 NFL teams said, no, we don't want you. See you later. And he's changed his tune. He seems like a completely different guy. It'd be hard to recognize him if you just sort of dropped in on the earth back then when he was at the podium, and then the guy now, you wouldn't think they're the same people. They seem totally different. The thing that I really was impressed with him, and the things that he said that resonated with me, was that because of this NIL money, because of the way it's kind of changed the landscape of college football and the college sports, but college football, it's more like an NFL team now. There are some differences, obviously, but there's more like it. And he talked about wanting a very balanced team structure with the organization, where there's people that are focusing in on recruiting high school guys, and there's guys focusing in on the transfer portal, and there's guys that are focusing on making sure that what you have to do to try to get to the next level of the NFL, with nutrition, with working out, with practicing, with this, and with this. And he said, I think I can bring that to a team, and I can bring that to a program where I can see a lot of parents wanting to send their kid here because I know how to get them into the NFL. And so, there might be some big recruits going there instead of choosing another school somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? Is to make it to the highest level that you could possibly make it, which is to the NFL. Yeah. So if you have a guy like Coach Belichick, the one thing that for sure is this: that man wins. Yeah. And he knows how to win, and he knows how to bring in a culture that is a winning culture. Yeah. So with that being said, it's a great shot that they did, UNC, trying to bring him into the fold and try to rope him in. Don't know if it's going to happen, but it's good that they shot their shot, man.
There's been rumors that some teams are starting to have interest in him in the NFL. The Jags, the Giants, I've heard rumors. Also heard the Bears. And then I heard the Bears getting shot down. Did you hear why?
No, I didn't. I think I may have. You know what? Remind me.
Okay. I don't know if this is true, because I actually have done some digging and I can't find if it's true or not. But
okay,
Bill Belichick, I've heard, is dating a 24-year-old girl who actually is the ex-girlfriend of Caleb Williams. So Caleb is like, no, I don't want this guy on my coach. I don't want Bill here. The guy stole my woman.
Okay, like if that's actually true, then yeah, I don't see that happening. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. I can't believe that. Because I know that his girlfriend is a former cheerleader for the Patriots. I do know that. Okay. But I never heard that other part. That he used to date Caleb Williams. I had never heard that.
I don't know if that's somebody just getting some clickbait on there. Yeah. Putting it on. I tried digging in and tried to see, her dating history. She's 24, so and not famous. So, there's not a lot of people clamoring to try to put her dating history up there. But yeah, somebody posted that the Bears probably won't do it. Caleb Williams has already lost his coach and got this guy fired and got that guy canned, and a whole bunch of things have been changing there. And he probably needs to sign on for the new coach. But yeah, when you take your girlfriend away, maybe you don't want him to be your head coach.
No, I think that's a little bit of like a step too far. I don't think that's gonna work. Period.
No. Yeah, so
if it's true.
maybe we'll find out true details in the coming weeks. Stay tuned. Could be very interesting to hear. But yeah, him sniffing around college, quite surprising. Never thought he would start going there. Never being a college coach ever. Yeah, but I guess in the coming weeks it'll be interesting to see if some NFL teams really try to woo him, bring him over, or he ends up just deciding to go to college. And it'll be great because, we saw what Deion Sanders did to that Colorado program. We've seen what I mentioned, Indiana, what some of these organizations are completely turning around their teams and, suddenly being relevant and being on the nationwide focus. And the 12-team playoff year, I think, has brought way more exposure, way more eyeballs, way more people tuning into college football this year. And, the money's probably there now to woo these guys from the NFL and bring them in.
Yeah, man. Like the money's there.
Yeah.
Period. Like the money's there. And if you bring in the right person, regardless of what level it's at, you will have success. Perfect example, NFL, Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Boom. Success.
Yeah.
You bring in a guy that actually knows. It's like, well, I don't know. I think I know a little bit about Super Bowls and winnings since I won 6 of them. He knows how to win.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what it takes. He knows the culture that you need. And then he also has a plan of how it should be, how they should proceed. With all of that said, if he does commit to it, he will fully commit. And that dude will give everything he has for those kids and everything else to make sure that program, UNC's football program, is going to be one of the best in the nation. And they will give him all the money that he'll need to make that happen.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Harbaugh because last night's game between the Chiefs and the Chargers, first game in NFL history where the defending Super Bowl champion coach was coaching against the defending national champion college football coach. Pretty neat to see those two worlds collide for the first time ever. The last thing I want to mention with college football right now is that Andrew Luck was just named the president of football operations for Stanford University, his alma mater, and he's going to completely revamp the football program there, make them relevant on their top scale. He's planning on hiring a whole bunch of people, and they've never had a president of football operations. Most colleges don't, and so they're reaching outside the box, bringing in one of their best quarterbacks of all time, and it'll be interesting to see how Stanford does with Luck in charge and what he's going to do to that program.
It's kind of weird, right? Because you can tell that with that move that Stanford's doing, they're going to more of an NFL type model.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, well, we're paying them anyways now, so let's move over to more of a professional type model.
Yeah.
I guarantee this. I guarantee you one thing that Andrew Luck's going to do for Stanford is like, well, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but I'm going to make sure he has a great offensive line.
True. Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Yeah. I want to make sure he has a long career.
Long career. Career.
Those guys, you got to love them. Those are my buddies. They're going to be yours too. So, you're probably right. That'll be offensive you now for forever and ever, Stanford.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Offensive line you. Okay, NFL. Let's start, as always, in the NFC East. Eagles are leading the way with 11-2 record. Commanders sit second at 8-5. They had a bye this week, so they didn't play. Cowboys sit in third, 5-7. They play the Monday night tonight's game against the Bengals, hosting Cincinnati, and the Giants have fallen down to the bottom of the division, 2-11, tied for the worst record in the league with the Raiders. The Eagles were able to squeak out a win 22-16 over the Panthers. Panthers 3-10. Did not think the Panthers were going to give the Eagles this much trouble. Bryce Young looked good. Not enough weapons there, but Philly was able to pull out the 22-16 win. Jalen Hurts wasn't relied upon very much. Did throw a couple TD passes, but Saquon Barkley, great again. Got his 9th 100-yard game. That's passes Wilbert Montgomery, most for the Eagles all time. Also passed for the most rushing yards from an Eagle all time. Still on pace to possibly beat Eric Dickerson. And Saquon, again, one of the biggest reasons why the Eagles got the win.
Yeah, man, Saquon has been absolutely amazing for the Eagles. I think the GM should be giving himself hearty pats on the back for bringing him in and being like, hey, Giants, I know you think he's garbage, but we think he's pretty good still. Yeah. So we're just going to take him off your hands, pay him what he's worth. By the way, whatever contract that they did get him for, woefully underpaid. Woefully underpaid, man. Yeah, like I think we can get rid of the narrative.
I think it's 13 million. I think he's making this year.
I think we should be getting rid of the narrative that running backs aren't important.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Serious? And I do want to give the Panthers some credit because these last 3 weeks they played their teams incredibly hard. Haven't got the decision going their way, but you can tell that the team is getting better.
Yeah,
they're fighting and they're getting better. And our Canadian Chuba Hubbard had a great game again, 26 carries with 92 yards. So Panthers are trying to build on something, but they're not going to do that with the Eagles. The Eagles are just a better team, period.
I love Chuba's nickname I've just recently heard, the Canadian Express. Instead of American Express, Canadian Express. And pretty cool. I like the new nickname for him. The other thing I wanted to mention with Saquon is just imagine if Jalen Hurts didn't like doing the tush push, didn't like doing the rushing touchdowns. Hurts has 13 rushing touchdowns on the year. Imagine if he didn't like that, like most quarterbacks don't. He handed the ball off to Saquon, 13 more touchdowns on his resume. I think it's pretty hard not to give him the MVP with that prolific amount of yardage and touchdowns as well, and what he's done to this Eagles team.
If he had all of those touchdowns plus with the amount of yardage, I think he would be the number one up for MVP of the league right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That was impressive performance by Panthers. Couldn't get it done, but on to the next year. They unfortunately lost their running back Jonathan Brooks to a knee injury. Was told today that he got a torn ACL, done for the season. So Chuba Hubbard, even more carries. Expect 30, 35, 40 carries maybe next week. And then they also lost a couple other guys. Their guy Raheem Blackshear was lost to a chest injury, and their cornerback J.C. Horn got a groin injury. So decimated injuries. Really tough on the Panthers. A lost season. The Panthers host the Cowboys Sunday, 10 a.m. The Eagles host the Steelers Sunday. That's the Pennsylvania grudge match. That goes in the later window. Love always seeing the Steelers and the Eagles play each other. It's always a fun game. I mentioned the Monday night game. That's the Cowboys hosting the Bengals tonight. Cowboys 5-7, Bengals 4-8. Joe Burrow and his team was favored by 5.5 points. 49.5 is the over/under. If you're betting tonight, guys, bet the over. Both teams are terrible on defense, just brutal. It's going to be a shootout type of game. Bengals rank 31st, second last in scoring defense. The Cowboys rank 31st, second last in rushing yards allowed per game, 150 a game. Chase Brown, our Canadian guy, should have a big game if he gets some touches, and great to see there. Cooper Rush has been really inconsistent, but still throwing for a lot of yards. The Bengals have allowed over 325 passing yards per game in their last 3 games and sit overall 27th in the league, allowing like 240 every game all season long. Pretty insane. Jamar Chase has caught a touchdown pass in 3 straight games. and more than one in 2 of the last 3. He's got 13 total. And yeah, it should be a fun game because I think it's going to be 41-38 type of a game.
I think so too, because as you just mentioned, both defenses suck. They can't stop anybody. And again, I feel for Joe Burrow. I really do, because he's statistically, he's probably having one of his best seasons in the NFL he's ever had.
Yeah.
And the team results are not showing it at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Cowboys were dealt a few more injury blows. They placed their guard Zach Martin on injured reserve with an ankle injury. He'll be lost for the rest of the year. They also lost their cornerback Josh Butler to a knee injury. He got placed on a IR. So they called up 3 different cornerbacks to replace him off the practice roster. So one guy came off the injured reserve. 2 guys came off the practice roster to try to fill in for them. The Bengals elevated their kicker Cade York from the practice roster. Not sure if McPherson is a little banged up. He's had a bit of a rough year. Maybe he's dealing with an injury, so that's what is happening. The Bengals head to Tennessee Titans Sunday early window, and as I said earlier, the Cowboys go to Carolina, plays early window Sunday there. As I mentioned, the Giants sit bottom of the NFC East, 2-11. They played the Saints. Saints were able to squeak out a 14-11 win. Saints improved to 5-8. Derek Carr, unfortunately, made a really bad mistake yesterday. He was running down the sideline, decided to try to jump and to try to get a first down. He got hit, landed on his head, got a concussion, and he broke his hand. He'll be lost for the season. It was a really crazy move, and it definitely didn't pay off. He just got pile drive into the turf and had to get sent to the hospital. Saints are trying to hang on to a playoff spot, but this was a tough blow for them to suffer.
Yeah, you know what they say, if you can not go vertical in the NFL, they frown upon it. Like if you're gonna go airborne, don't do it. Just don't do it. And especially if you're the quarterback. I understand he's doing it for the team. He's one of those guys. And well, look at what happened now. Now you don't have that guy because now he's out.
Yeah.
And now you have to depend on some guys that are just not as good as Derek Carr. So, but at least they got the win against the woeful Giants. And man, but first off, let me just say this: easy to get those wins against the Giants.
True.
Very easy.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Giants. Oh man, it's terrible there. Yeah. Drew Lock ended up playing the entire game, but suffered an injury that he had to have an MRI on today. No details came what it is, what the MRI was on. So I guess we'll hear maybe later today or tomorrow what the results from that. His top receiver, Malik Neighbors, just came back from concussion protocol and had a pretty good game with 5 catches for 79 yards and a 2-point conversion. And they're on their only touchdown. But yeah, this team is sad. They are competing with the Raiders for the #1 overall draft pick. Who's going to get it will be interesting. And we'll see how that plays out. There was another interesting thing that came out of this game. There is a girl that's a TikToker, social media person, has an OnlyFans account. Her name is Ava Louise, and supposedly a Giants player started sending her messages and said he would pay for tickets for her or get tickets for her to the game so she could be in the crowd and she could try to distract Derek Carr and the Saints. And so she ended up becoming bare-chested during the game to try to distract them. And she released the messages via social media. Didn't divulge the name of the guy, but I'm sure it's going to come out. She got caught on camera, flashed it all around. social media, got a lot more followers probably, but
Oh, yeah.
somebody could be in some trouble for doing this to try to bring in a distraction into the crowd, being bare chested out there. I don't think it worked, but kind of bizarre. I'm a little bit mad at her for releasing the messages, but pretty dumb off this Giants player.
It's just not that smart. And also too, you have to be eagle-eyed, right?
Yeah.
First off, you're thinking he's going to not be engaged in the game, so he's going to be constantly looking out into the crowd. Oh yeah, really? Yeah, that's gonna happen. No. And then third, the next thing is, as a professional athlete, you need to protect yourself at all times. Stop DMing people like this.
Yeah.
Because you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna look at that and be like, cash cow opportunity, cool. I'm going to release all of this to the media, all of this to the news. Brutal. And then eventually your name's gonna come out.
Yeah.
And it's just not gonna, this is not a good look. So I urge every professional athlete, keep it on the down low.
Yeah.
Or just don't do it at all. Or you know what? Be old school and meet them at a library or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah. Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
I just hope that Derek Carr wasn't looking at her as he was trying to reach that ball over the first.
And he goes, "Oh, now I see her." Bam.
Yeah.
What was the last thing you remember seeing?
That was a distraction for sure. Yeah. The Saints host the Commanders Sunday early window. The Giants host the Ravens same time. Okay, turn to the NFC West. We've got really great division still. Seahawks were able to get a really big win over the Cardinals, 30-18. Maintain a one-game lead in the division, 8-5. Rams sit 7-6. The Cardinals are 6-7, tied with the Niners, both 6-7. Great victory from Seahawks again. Zach Charbonnet had a really great game. Had 200 yards from scrimmage, a couple of touchdowns, 134 on the ground, 59 through the air. Jackson Smith-Njigba is a phenomenal target. Another great touchdown from him. And Geno Smith has all those weapons. Another huge win. 4 wins in a row for Seattle to really start solidifying themselves as a playoff team and a winner of this division. Great win.
Yeah, great win. They're beginning to roll right now. Jackson Smith-Njigba has really stepped up his game and has been a real target for Geno Smith. And unfortunately for the Cardinals, they just fell short. They fell short once again. Yeah. Murray had a pretty good game with 259 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
And that's what helped the Seahawks win this game.
Yeah, the interceptions were by Kobe Bryant and Ernest Jones IV. Those were huge. Really turned the tide and gave Seattle the necessary lead. They do have these game leads, but it's actually a game more when you get the sweep. They were able to beat the Cardinals both times this year. So if they finished tied, Seahawks would get the nod. So that's always huge to win your divisional games. Budda Baker had a phenomenal game for them, but not enough. And Seahawks host the Packers. That's the Sunday nighter. That'll be a great game. The Cardinals host the Patriots Sunday in the later afternoon window, 1:25 p.m. Pacific time kickoff. Okay. Game of the weekend, my opinion, was the Rams hosting the Bills. It ended up being the highest scoring game of the season so far. Best game of the week. Really awesome. Back and forth. Once the Rams were able to get Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back, they are a legitimate team that have the weapons that can go up against teams that, are awesome and beat them. This was an amazing victory for them. 44-42. Rams are 7-6. Bills fell to 10-3. Awesome game. Absolutely one of my favorite games I've seen in years. And it's only the second time in NFL history where 2 teams combined for 5+ passing touchdowns, 5+ rushing touchdowns, and 0 turnovers in a game. The last time it happened was 1965, the Chiefs and the Broncos. The only time it's ever happened. So this was a special game.
It was an awesome game. I watched the entirety of this game. This game was so good. Both quarterbacks were excellent. I think they said that this is the first time ever done by a quarterback, which was Josh Allen. 22 of 37, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, and 3 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah.
With 82 yards.
No NFL player in history
Nobody.
has three passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns in one game himself. That's unreal. Yeah, unreal. When we were talking about Saquon Barkley a little bit ago, MVP, Josh is right in that conversation. Maybe the front runner right now.
I would say he definitely is the front runner right now, because if you look at like all his weapons, his offensive weapons he has on that team, well, it's kind of just me. Like I'm just gonna do it.
Imagine if he had Nacua and Cup.
Oh, no! First off, that's not right. And that's not fair. That's why he doesn't have Nacua and Cup. That's why instead he has Shakir and Hollins.
Unfair fight. He probably met him at they probably met each other shaking hands, and he looks at Stafford. You bastard! Can share some of your weapons, please?
and Stafford's just like, no, man, because you're the weapon. You are literally the weapon. So you do your thing. I'm going to do my thing with my guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah. For it to be the first time in NFL history to happen, that's special. That is something on your resume that you can be very proud of, that can be, part of the resume for the MVP considerations. And once Stafford was able to get back Puka and Cooper, and they have the great running back in Kyron, all 3 weapons. This team, look out. If they can make the playoffs, look out. This team is going to be scary.
No, they're definitely going to be scary, man. Like, because like they have the wherewithal they can do this to the best teams.
Yeah,
that's what they can do. And again, with Nacua, I just gotta go over his stats: 12 receptions, 162 yards, 1 touchdown, and then 1 running the football in, 1 touchdown. Nacua was absolutely incredible.
The one catch he made on the sideline was spectacular, just spectacular. When the ball was released, I thought there's no way, it's out of bounds. He was throwing it away. And for him to be able to reel that in was unbelievable, just absolutely spectacular. I think it was Brady, wasn't it? Brady that was on the call. And he was just like, holy crap, that is amazing. What a catch. And you can't do it justice. But holy cow, that was one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Yeah, because he had to have perfect body control, because at the end of the day, he knows that he's right on the sideline, so he's tiptoeing it, and it's almost like, okay, ball's here now. Like, it's almost like a blind catch, and keeping his toes barely in bounds.
Yeah,
it was one of the best. It's definitely one of the best catches of the year.
I hope the NFL one day decides to use the college rule and only have 1 foot in play. And I think we'll see even more spectacular catches. And I think it's something that I would adopt and I would put forward if I had, a sit down with the NFL and say, hey, why not? Like, these guys are already making these spectacular 2-foot catches, but a lot of them are getting called off because the 1 foot's touching the line, the other foot's in, but it's only 1 foot. How many more spectacular catches would we see if it was 1?
You would see an incredible amount of spectacular catches. I think the highlight reel would just be exponentially just being grown bigger if that were the case.
Yeah. Speaking of one of the legends of that, Randy Moss decided to take some time off. He's taken some stepping away. You suggested that he do that, and I'm glad he took your advice and decided to step away and deal with his health first.
Well, first off, number one, like there's no, like, you're not proving anything to anybody. You already did that on the field.
Yeah.
Now that you're retired and you're just doing this stuff for fun, so to speak, go do what's important. Go do what's actually going to save your life. Like, just deal with your health thing. Deal with it the way that it needs to be dealt with, as serious, because this sounds like it's actually pretty serious.
Yeah.
Right. And we have no idea when he's going to get back, but he should only come back once this health scare is done and he's completely healthy again.
Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately for the Rams, Demarcus Robinson sprained his shoulder, and they have a short week. They're playing on Thursday, so we'll see if he's able to get back. Also, their cornerback, Kobe Durant, suffered a bruised lung. Um, I don't know how you check on a bruised lung, but that's it sounds like it'd be pretty painful to the chest. I broke my sternum, and I had bruising through there. Maybe they had to do the X-ray somehow to check, but yeah, not a good injury. Probably, I don't think we'll see either guy this Thursday.
No, no, I don't think you'll see either guy. And then also too, like if you got a bruised lung, that means you got hit that hard that your innards, your organs got bruised.
Yeah.
And like I've only heard that happen, well, candidly from Gronkowski, and he talked about what happened when Earl Thomas hit him,
Oh, right. I heard about
like
that. Yeah. Yeah.
collapsed lung, and like pretty much he did something to his spine, knocked him out for the season.
Jesus.
Earl Thomas hit hard, but I didn't know he hit that hard.
No kidding. Yeah, that's insane, eh? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rams play San Francisco, a division rival, on Thursday. Should be a fun game to watch. The Bills head to Detroit to play the Lions Sunday. Imagine that game. Holy crap.
That's going to be a great game. It's
Yeah,
going to be a nice game, man.
unreal. Okay, speaking of the 49ers, they had a massive 38-13 win over Chicago. 49ers 6-7, Bears fall to 4-9. Purdy was great. 325 yards passing with a couple of touchdowns. Even though CMC is out, Isaac Guerrero had a great game, had a couple touchdowns. He got hurt and is day to day with an injury. We'll see. Just as I said with the Rams, Thursday, short week, we might still not see Guerrero, so they're going to have to go to another running back by committee. Maybe Debo. Debo had a few carries in this game, but we'll see what pans out. It's always tough on the short weeks.
Yeah, it's very tough. Very tough. Like you just don't have the time to recuperate as long as you usually do.
George Kittle had a fantastic game, 6 catches, 150 yards. Jennings had a couple of touchdown catches. And Uter Gross-Matos, their defensive end, had 3 sacks himself. Leonard Floyd had 2. They were able to really get all over Caleb Williams and stick it in his face and say, yes, that's for not treating Bill Belichick's girlfriend well. And
Very
yeah,
good.
Caleb
Very good.
didn't have a very good game at all.
No, he didn't have a very good game. And then you look at the way the Bears are right now. Could they use a Bill Belichick? Absolutely, they could.
Yeah.
They could. But, like if there's that weird interpersonal thing between quarterback and coach, it's never going to work.
The Bears go to Minnesota to play the Vikings. That's a Monday nighter. Actually, there's 2 Monday night games next week, so a week from tonight. And yeah, we'll break those down a little bit. Okay, NFC North, we got the Lions leading 12-1, Vikings second 11-2, Packers 9-4, and the Bears sitting in the basement 4-9. The Packers and the Lions had a great game. This was the Thursday night we're going back to, and Jake Bates ended up kicking a 35-yard walk-off field goal to get the huge win. Dan Campbell, balls of steel, going for it on 4th down with about 43 seconds left, trying to secure the victory. Got 4 for 5 on 4th down. The one they gave up on their own 30 was dumb as hell, but he was able to get Sonic and Knuckles all greased up. Goff had a good game, and they were able to get a very, very big win over the Packers.
Riverboat gambler Dan Campbell does it again. Like I love the fact that he's just super unapologetic. Because like that's my coaching style. You always go for it.
Yeah, no matter what.
But for this particular game, they actually needed to do that because their defense was utterly decimated. He knew that the offense had to hold on to the ball and keep the ball for as long as they possibly could on every position.
Yeah.
He knew that.
13 guys on defense hurt. Like, you got to know that, it's not wise to rely on them to try to stop the Packers from going down and winning the game.
And so I think he already had it in his mind. It's like fourth down miss means just another down to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's what he had in his mind.
Yeah.
And the team rose to the occasion. I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed with how Dan Campbell navigated this game that they could have been utterly blown out of.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. They managed to win against a very tough Packers team, and yeah, they're still tops in their division.
Yeah. So Knuckles had a touchdown. He had 84 yards, and Sonic Jameer Gibbs had a touchdown, and he had 73 yards. Pretty incredible. Jamison Williams had a good game. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tim Patrick had a couple of touchdown catches, and yeah, Sam Laporta, another decent game, and Jack Campbell was their top tackler. This team is solid and still rolling. An incredible season this year. Best ever for Detroit for record wise. Josh Jacobs had a phenomenal game. Had a hat trick of touchdowns, 3 touchdowns himself. Short ones, but they were able to utilize him to get into the end zone. But a tough loss for the Packers. Still 9-4, looking like they're a playoff team. Unfortunately, they were hit by the injury bug as well. Romeo Dobbs is in concussion protocol, and their safeties, Evan Williams and Javon Bullard, both listed with knee injuries, no, ankle injuries, sorry, listed as week to week, so we might not see them. They play the Sunday nighter in Seattle, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, and the Lions host the Bills, as I also mentioned. That should be phenomenal. Okay, let's talk about the Vikings, who are in second place in that division. They were able to double up your Falcons, 42-21, get the huge win. Sam Darnold was had another fantastic game, 350 yards passing with 5 touchdowns. And you know what? He isn't signed for next year. I don't believe it. Like, what is Minnesota doing? I know JJ McCarthy is your draft pick and you want him to be the next guy, but hasn't Darnold done enough to deserve a contract extension here? That's insane. How many teams are going to be lining up, talk to his agent, put a lot of money on the table, big money on the table to get Sam Darnold in there? 11-2, and another phenomenal game by the guy.
Maybe they need to get to 12-2 before they make him an offer. I don't know. But it is kind of ridiculous. It's like, if I'm Sam Darnold, I'm like, I guess I just need to win more. I guess it's not good enough for them yet. But I agree with you. Like I would have probably got him a contract at 8-2, and been like, this is going to save us a lot of money if we just give him the money right now. Because right now, as it stands, oh, dude, you're like with every win, there's going to be more money attached to his contract.
Yeah.
So right now, he's probably looking at, from whoever, 40 million, 50 million a year contract.
Yeah,
that's what he's looking at.
Big money. Yeah, people are going to be lining up. I'd love to be his agent. I know it's not Scott Boras, but it's probably somebody that's pretty smart.
Oh no, it's going to be somebody very smart, knowing it's just like, so by the way, since you waited so long, and you said, what's the record right now? 11-2?
11-2.
Like, you waited so long, it's like, now we're just going to hammer you. It's like, this is what you're going to pay us, or we're just going to go somewhere else that's going to pay us that much.
They're going to be 12-2 after this week because they're playing the Bears.
Yep. Oh, yeah, done.
Then they have the Seahawks. Tough game, but winnable. And then they play the Packers, and they finish off with the Lions. So tough game. But they could easily be 12-2, possibly 13-2 by the time they have to play those last 2 games.
Yeah. And then even at 13-2, it's like, we're still not there, man. So I don't think we can offer you anything.
Crazy.
Ridiculous.
Money being flushed down the toilet as we speak. He's got great weapons there. Jordan Addison had also a hat trick of touchdowns, 8 catches, 133 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Justin Jefferson, 7 catches, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones is great. TJ Hawkinson, They really have a solid team throughout. This division, NFC North, is super impressive. On the other side of the ball, Captain Kirk seems to want to throw the ball to the opposition way too much. 5 picks and 0 touchdowns the last 2 games. Kirk, I don't know what's happening to him, but he's really starting to lose a lot of fan appreciation that they had for him coming in and trying to revitalize this franchise. They're still in the playoff hunt, but if he just keeps throwing picks like this, they're going to be falling out of favor pretty soon.
Yeah, because I've already heard of calls for putting in Michael Penix, which I'm like, yeah, I could see that, but then well, there goes the season. So I don't know. It would be great if he just stopped throwing the ball away to like the other team. So that would be awesome. But he had a lot of yards, 344 yards, but it doesn't mean anything. You just keep giving the ball away to the other team. Yeah. And the fact that the defense couldn't stop the Vikings in the fourth quarter where they scored 3 more touchdowns. Yeah. It was a close game. It was
21-21 after 3. After the third quarter, then 3 touchdowns were scored by the Vikings in that fourth quarter. Yeah, so it was very close. They had an opportunity to win this. I have good news for you, though, if you haven't looked ahead. The Raiders are next. The Giants are the team after that. So 2-11 teams the next 2 weeks. The Commanders after that's a tough game, but then they finish with the Panthers. So 3 very, very, very winnable games. They could likely be 9-8 at the end of this, trying to get themselves into that NFC South playoff spot. They're only 1 game back of the Bucs right now in that position. So
they have to win those 3 games that they should against those bottom teams. If they lose even one of those teams, they don't make it. They're not going to get it.
I never knew this about Arthur Smith actually until today. Arthur Smith's father is the founder of FedEx.
Wait, what?
Created the company FedEx. And so he's rich, man. Like maybe not Elon rich, maybe not Gates rich, but he is friggin' rich. And Arthur Smith decided to play football, become a head coach, and keep on with the game he loves. And he could be sitting back like you would be, drinking and hanging out and not working. That's for sure. It's impressive that Arthur Smith is doing what he's doing with a dad that's successful and that rich.
No, yeah, man. Like that is super successful. And it's amazing that he's actually doing what he is doing. I had no idea. I did not know that. I
just found that out today. That's pretty crazy, man. That's insane.
No.
Yeah. Okay, Falcons play in the Monday 5:30 game. They play against the Raiders. Yeah, that's the 5:30 kickoff. And then the Monday nighter, the earlier Monday nighter, the Vikings host the Bears, and that's 5 o'clock kickoff. I hate that they're doing those 2-game Monday nighters, but oh well, what can you do? NFC South, as I mentioned, Bucks lead the division 7-6. Falcons second, 6-8. Saints third, 6-8. Falcons 6-7. Saints 6-8, and the Panthers 3-10. Bucks got a 28-13 victory over the Raiders in Baker. We trust. Still able to get the wins going on and leading the division. Jalen McMillan had both touchdowns, and Baker had a phenomenal game. Did throw a couple picks, but had 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they got the much-needed win. Not too tough against the Raiders, though.
No, not too tough. White had a great game with 17 carries, 90 yards, and a touchdown, and 1 touchdown he caught through the air. The Raiders are just trying to throw stuff at the wall at this point in time, see whatever sticks. I think they tried Ritter. He had 101 yards. They tried O'Connell. He had 104 yards, but 1 interception. They're just giving it their best. But the only thing that they have that's something that they can definitely rely on is Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
That tight end is awesome.
He's set a record, actually. He beat Sam Laporta's record from last year. Most receptions ever by a rookie tight end. And so only 1 year it went, but in the NFL history, the most receptions ever for tight end in his rookie year. So impressive. Unfortunately for the Bucks, they lost Bucky Irving to an injury. We'll see what's up with him. And Antoine Winfield also, he got a knee injury and he's going to miss at least 2 games, they say. So hopefully both guys can get back fairly soon. Bucky had a back injury and a hip pointer. So we've been talking about him a lot, how great he is. They need him to come back and help out. But Rashad White with 2 touchdowns, Jalen McMillan with 2 each as well. The Raiders host the Falcons Monday nighter, as I said, and the Bucks go to the LA Chargers late window. Okay, AFC now. AFC East. Bills still lead the division, easily going to win this division, 10-3. Dolphins sit second, 6-7. Jets and the Patriots both 3-10 at the bottom. Dolphins were able to get the big win, keep their playoff hopes alive with a 32-26 overtime victory against the New York Jets. Jonnu Smith never caught a pass all game long. 3 catches in overtime. The game winner was able to get the touchdown there and get the win. Huge win for the Dolphins. Still alive.
Still alive. Tua had a fantastic game, 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hill, his favorite target, 10 receptions, 115 yards, touchdown, and obviously Jonnu Smith being the hero of the day. Oh man, but let's take a look at the Jets, the woeful Jets. Rodgers actually had a good game, 339 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
still doesn't get it done though. Like,
no.
For him, he must be incredibly frustrated. You know, like he thought he was going to come in there, be the savior of New York. Everything's going to be good, and yet you can't even be better than the quarterback that we got rid of the year before. Not even close.
Yeah, it's pretty sad there. He's got weapons. Garrett Wilson and Devontae both had good games, but I could see him shaking his head. I think he thought they had to win, and then the Dolphins marched down, kicked the tying field goal, sent it into overtime, and he never got a chance in overtime. But we'll see. He's always on Pat McAfee. I watch him every Tuesday. It'll be interesting to see what he has to say. It's obviously a complete lost year. They're done. They're on a bye this week. Patriots are on the bye. Jets play to Jacksonville. Pretty sad game on Sunday. The Dolphins head to Houston to play the Texans. The game last night, the Sunday nighter, the Chiefs and the Chargers. Always a good division battle between those 2 teams. Chiefs still sit top of the division. Chargers are in second, tied with the Broncos, 8-5. Raiders are last, 2-11. The Chiefs, oh my God, they just win every game. They just need something to just go right at the end of the game, and they win. That doink off the left upright, if it's just a little bit this way, the Chargers win. I can't believe it. They just somehow find ways to get these wins. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. As a Chargers fan, I've been having to deal with it for too many years, and it's tough to see. I thought the Chargers were going to pull out the win, but they had such a bad first half, didn't score any points at all. Tried to come back in the second half and get the win. Chiefs pulled it off and get another one of those 1-score wins. 12-1 on the season. Still in line for the best record overall in the whole NFL.
It epitomizes exactly how the Chiefs season has gone.
Yeah,
we get all the bounces, we get all the luck, and you will get none. No luck.
Crazy,
right? It is crazy because as this was happening, as you are, as I am, I'm a Chargers fan. But this is what I did know. We are going to lose this game. I don't know how we're going. I knew that we were going to lose the game. Even with the Chargers' furious comeback, they were doing great. I'm like, nah. First off, they scored. I'm like, we left too much time on the board.
Yeah.
Mahomes is going to come back. And then when they had him backed up, and you're like, okay, like if he doesn't make this, then they're gonna have to kick a longer field goal.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Finds Kelsey.
Yeah, hits Kelsey, and I'm like, and then that's how we lost.
Yeah.
And that's how we lost.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. Yeah. You could pretty much predict it. Yeah. You
Yes.
knew it was happening, unfortunately. And
Oh
it
yeah.
did. And yeah, but they just continue on. This team figures out ways to win. The strangest, most bizarre season ever. A 12-1 team. And I think what is it? 50, I think it's 56 points to the plus out of 13 games. That's insane. That's unbelievable. But smoke and mirrors, they figure out a way to win. Unfortunately for the Chargers. The Chargers host the Bucs Sunday. Should be a good game. Let's hope they can keep going. The Broncos had a bye, so they're still tied with the Broncos 8-5. Firmly in a playoff spot right now. Hopefully they can finish off the season well. The Chiefs head to Cleveland. They'll get another last-second victory, and they'll be 13-1 when we do this a week from now. AFC North. We had a good game on. We had a good battle on the weekend. Steelers are 10-3 with the victory. The Ravens had a bye, sitting in second place. Bengals another loss. No, sorry, Bengals Monday nighter, as I said. Tough season. Browns 3-10 with the loss. The Steelers were able to win 27-14. Decent game from a bunch of guys, but it was mostly just their defense that I think stepped up the most to get this victory for them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like the steel curtain was in full effect in this game, forcing Winston into 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and at least with Winston, the Browns have a chance of winning these games.
Yeah.
When it was Deshaun Watson, they had no chance of winning any game.
No.
So at least he's giving them a chance to win some of these games. They're not winning, but he's giving them a chance to do that. Wilson was good enough, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. If there's a bright spot on the Browns offense that I still love this guy. First off, I'm always going to be a Nick Chubb guy, always will be. But it's Njoku. Their tight end, that guy is fantastic.
Yeah.
Must see.
He's money, yeah, for sure. He's a very solid guy. The Browns are dealing with their kicker, Dustin Hopkins, has had a really tough year. He was 0 for 2 on field goals. His 38-yarder was wide left. His 43-yarder was wide right. He's only 64% on kicking field goals this season. He came in from last year, had a career high of 92%, and signed a 3-year, $16 million extension. Now he's a fat cat sitting back with his money. He doesn't care anymore. The Browns are like, what's happened to our guy? This was our guy. But yeah, hopefully he can turn it around for them. But yeah, we'll see. Cleveland, yeah, lost season. But you're right. Winston makes it fun. Gives them a chance, and they always are in these very good, exciting games. Steelers travel to Philly, as I mentioned, the Battle of Pennsylvania. The Broncos host the Chiefs. Last game of the weekend, we got a cover from the AFC South. The Texans lead the division, 8-5, had a bye. Colts also had a bye, sitting in second, 6-7. And the Jags and the Titans, both 3-10 at the bottom. What a horrible game between the Jags and the Titans. 10-6. Unbelievable. Somebody had to win, and the Jags were able to get the 1 touchdown from Tank Bigsby to get the win.
What a defensive gem. What a game. It was just such a pleasure to watch this game. The defense was just amazing.
God.
It was awful. It was awful. If you're diehard fans of both these teams, you watch this game. Otherwise, nobody watched this game.
No.
Nobody.
That was it. Yeah. Jags host the New York Jets Sunday. Titans host the Bengals. Okay, we're done with football. Let's talk about UFC 310. We had a sold out arena in Vegas, just over $5 million gate. We had a lot of OGs on the card, 30 fighters with 38 wins. I think they all retired. But let's talk about the main event. We had Alexander the Cannibal Pantoja fighting the newcomer Kai Asukara, making his UFC debut, two-time Ryzen champion coming in from Japan, and really put up a pretty decent fight early on. Pantoja took over, was able to secure the rear naked choke victory and get the win and dispatch the newcomer, get 50K bonus for the submission win, and prove that no, he's pretty untouchable right now at the top of the flyweight division.
Yeah, pretty much. You don't know what he also proved is it's like you can't just come in here and think you can take on the champ and win.
Yeah.
So how about this? You come in here, you take on the champ, and you get blown out.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what happened, man.
Yeah.
Like Asakura, I was impressed with his striking. I thought if some of those flying knees had connected, that could have put Pantoja in a bunch of trouble. I think one of them actually did, but it just didn't matter to Pantoja. He just kept walking him down.
Yeah.
He walked him down methodically. And then in the second round, when he had his chance to get him to the ground, that was one of the quickest back takes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm sure Asakura was just like, what just happened? Now he's almost getting strangled to death. And then he did get strangled to death. Yeah, man. There's levels to this game, and I think Asakura just realizes, like, oh, so that's where I need to get it to. Yes, you were champions in the previous, wherever you were fighting before, but this is the UFC, son.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I can't disagree with anything you said there. Absolutely levels to this game, and I saw this going in. I thought this is how it's going to be.
Yep.
I was surprised that they were bringing in Asakura to immediately have a title shot. I think he wasn't ready and hadn't faced the type of competition that Pantoja had faced. And so what do you do with him now? What do you do with Asakura? He's not ranked. How do you find a match for him so that you can, continue his UFC career? What do you do?
Well, you have to validate the fact that you just brought him in so he could fight the champion right away. So you know how you validate that? He has to fight people in the top 10 right away.
Yeah.
Right now. Like whoever's in the top 10, he's not fighting anybody lower than that. Top 10, and then he just has to work his way up the rankings again. But you definitely do not allow him to fight somebody below the top 10 because then it makes you look like an idiot.
Yeah. Pantoja's cleaned out the division, kind of almost. It's pretty crazy. That was his third title defense, and he's beat almost everybody up there. So we'll see what's next for him. A lot of times guys talk about a second division, but yeah, this was a master class, complete ass kicking, and he did it, and very impressive fashion. Co-main event. We had two undefeated fighters. Shavkat Rakhmonov was supposed to fight for the belt against Bilal Muhammad. Couldn't do it, so they brought in Ian Machado Gary, who was supposed to be the main event this weekend. Gary actually held his own. I was actually quite blown away and impressed by him. I don't like the guy personally, but I thought he actually neutralized a ton of what Shavkat has been able to use to beat all of his opponents before. Gary looked good. Didn't win this fight. I thought, Shavkat was able to win those first 3 rounds and take it, but I was impressed by Gary that he went the full distance, was able to make it a very competitive fight, and it wasn't a Shavkat blow away. I think he actually rose his stock in defeat with this.
Yeah, no, I think he did too. Like like as much as I don't like Gary, I do have to say he's an incredible fighter. He's a very, very good fighter. And I knew that this would be technically a very close fight as it was. And Rakhmonov kind of just barely managed to squeak this one out, to be honest with you, because Gary was beginning to come on at the later rounds at the end of the fight.
Yeah.
Like he began to figure out his distancing and the management of the distance and everything else. And the fact that Rakhmonov had such a hard time trying to even take him to the ground, that's really the fact that Gary was able to keep it where he wanted to, which was in the stand-up. That was a pretty good big feather in his cap, but Rakhmonov managed to get the win, and this was a very dangerous fight for him because you don't win this fight, he doesn't get his title shot. True. And the fact that he was willing to take this fight, well, you know what, the UFC should be very grateful for the fact that Rakhmonov took this fight.
Yeah, for sure.
It's super dangerous.
They walked Bilal in, shook his hand, basically said that he's next, so that'll be the title fight. Hopefully in the next 2-3 months we'll see that title fight. Should be a hell of a fight.
Yeah, it should be a hell of a fight. I always like it when they do this face off and the one guy doesn't speak any English. He's just looking at him like, I don't know what you said, but I don't like you. Like I
Yeah,
always find that funny. I always find that super funny.
that is hilarious. Yeah, that's true. We'll see. See what's next for Gary, but there'll be lots of good fights I'm sure they can put on for him. Let's talk about that heavyweight fight. We talked about it off the top of the podcast. The robbery that was given for Volkov should have beat Cyril Gahn. The split decision went to Cyril Gahn. What's next? What do they do? Do they run it back? We've got John Jones in the heavyweight position. We've got Tom Aspinall knocking on the door. Was the interim champ. That becomes null and void once Jones gets the belt back. Then we got Cyril Gahn right below that and Volkov there. He's already beat Pavlovich below him. He's already beat some of the guys below him. So what do they do? What do they give him the winner between Jones and Aspinall if that fight ever ends up happening? Or do they give him Aspinall if Jones calls it quits or goes to Pereira?
Yeah, that's there's so many different things. So first off, I actually believe since Dana wants this to happen, he's going to probably force them to do it. So they're going to have to pay for that, by the way. I think Jones and Aspinall is going to be a thing.
Right.
Dana White's also been on record saying that if Jones does beat Aspinall, he will gift him the fight with Alex Pereira.
Okay.
That he's actually been on record to say that. Now, if that actually follows through, cool. If it doesn't, then that's a disappointment because he didn't keep his word. But then again, Dana's been known to do that, so it happens.
Yeah.
I think they should run this fight back because I don't believe, and you don't believe, that Gahn won this fight. Dude, the man didn't even stay to do the interview. He just left.
No, he thought he lost.
He walked out.
Yeah.
Like that to me was the most telling thing of, oh yeah, sure. Like I think he was more concerned with my foot hurts, toes are broken. I shouldn't have won this fight. I'm leaving.
Gotta go.
Right?
Yeah. It was crazy. It was stupid. It really bothered me. And put a sour taste in my mouth. And
I hated it.
You're right. Gunn just left the octagon, said, I shouldn't be having my hand raised. I didn't win. Yeah.
So, he didn't win because the things that I said before that Volkov needed to do is to make sure that he doesn't go at Gahn's pace. No, he didn't do that. He was more aggressive. He got off his strikes first. He was dictating the pace.
Yeah.
He was the one that took him down. I was actually very impressed when Gahn took him down back in reverse in the first round. But Volkov was basically controlling the pacing of that fight.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe he won. And the fact that he didn't win because, let me say this to you. There's no way that Gahn won the third round.
No.
He didn't win that round.
No.
Volkov won that round.
Yeah.
So that just pissed me off.
Yeah, that was not cool. Not cool.
Yeah.
I did mention to you, I think it was not last week, but the week before, you should watch the show on Netflix called The Cage. It's a French MMA show, and Cyril Gahn plays a role in it. So do some very prominent MMA guys. Check it out; it's really good. I recommended it to a few people, and you should watch it if you get a chance. Okay, the featherweight battle between Bryce Mitchell and Kron Gracie. I don't even call it battle. Kron Gracie should be cut. See you later. Get some striking in your game. We don't want to see you just pulling guard and acting this way. It was worse your fight before, but this one was just as bad. It was boring and shitty. And Bryce Mitchell, had a walkover win, pretty damn easy over a guy that shouldn't be there.
No, actually, you know what? This fight shouldn't have been on the main card. It was on the main card because Kron Gracie has the name of Gracie in it. Yeah. He should have been on the early prelims. And also, too, I think even Mitchell, as he was doing this fight, was probably getting pissed off himself. It's like, jumping a pull guard again and again and again and again and again. Now, Kron did give himself a chance to win this game, win this fight. I think it was in the second round. He almost had him in an arm bar.
Right.
But that was the only thing that he had going for him. Yeah. That was it. Yeah. And I was actually super impressed when Mitchell was just like, oh, you're going to jump guard again in the third round? I'm going to slam you as hard as I can. And then with those two perfect elbows, which knocked him out, I'm like, oh, thank goodness this fight's over. Thank you.
That was it. Yeah. Thankfully it was over.
Thankfully it was over.
Bryce Mitchell, we'll see who he fights next, but right above him in the rankings are Giga Chikadze, Lerone Murphy, and Calvin Cater. Could be interesting, any of those guys. Two below him are Dan Ige and Edson Barbosa. So a lot of killers, a lot of great fights. Could be in the mix for him. The featherweight battle between Duho Choi and Nate Landwehr. Loved it. Don't like Landwehr, so it's nice to see him get beat the hell up. Duho Choi looked phenomenal, man. That guy, accurate. Just movement was incredible. Everything that he threw at Nate was great. Finally was able to dispatch him. I was blown away and totally impressed. I've always liked Duho Choi, but I think this is the best I've ever seen him.
It was a very efficient tactical performance on his part. It felt like whatever Landwehr was doing, Choi had an answer for immediately. Yeah. Perfect counter, perfect strikes, great accuracy on his strikes, and obviously, clearly, he was the more powerful striker in there.
Yeah. Choi, I saw live back in, I think it was 2016. I saw him fight Cub Swanson. The fight's in the Hall of Fame, UFC, and one of the best fights I've ever seen. Him and Cub just went toe to toe, and he's always got it. Unfortunately, he lost a couple of years of to the military service that all Koreans have to do, or he'd have even more great fights on his card. Good to see the Korean Zombie in his corner too. Love seeing the Koreans bring it. Okay, the prelims. Main feature fight on the prelims had Dominic Reyes and Anthony Smith. Both guys have fought for the belt before. Both guys have had great decorated careers. Reyes was the better fighter in this one, and Anthony Smith ended up saying that he is retiring from this fight after another loss. And sad to see him go. Incredibly long and decorated career for Anthony Smith, but Dominic Reyes has been able to rejuvenate his career. He was on a 4-fight losing streak, is able to get the last 2 victories and turn his career around. Very impressive performance against a tough guy.
Yeah, very impressive performance against a tough guy. I can see why Smith retired, because in that round 2 where he finally lost the fight, he should have gave up on that single leg takedown.
Yeah,
where he was just getting smashed and smashed. It was almost as if his brain couldn't figure out what else it could do.
What to do, yeah.
Where it was just pretty obvious to us, which is, I don't know, let go of his leg. How about
that? Yeah.
And back out. But that's not what he did.
Simple when we're watching, doesn't it?
Yes, very simple when we're watching, but harder when you're actually in the octagon trying to perform after how many professional fights? 50 or more?
Yeah.
So I think this was a great time for Smith to step away and to look at other opportunities. I think he's fought long and hard enough. Like, for me, as soon as you're cresting way over 50 professional fights or going towards 60, I think you're good.
Yeah,
I think you're good.
He's got a announcing career. They use him, as an analyst, and
he's excellent at
to do that. Yeah, focus on that. Take care of your family and focus on that. We'll see what Reyes has next. Ahead of him in the rankings are Azamat Mirzanikov, Johnny Walker, Volkan Ozdemir, and Nikita Krylov. We'll see what they put together. The Vicente Luque fight against Dembo Garimbo. Wow. So blown away, and holy crap, was that ever a quick finish? Holy cow. Garimbo just didn't even know what had hit him. Was able to just put him off balance, sink in a Darce choke, and actually put him to sleep quick. Man, it was crazy. I wasn't expecting that.
I was not expecting that. I thought this would be a knockout brawl. I thought Garimbo, since he was the hot one, I thought he was going to win this fight.
Yeah.
But Luque quickly corrected me on that. And when he put him to sleep, literally snoring, I was just like, wow. Oh, man. Like, so Luque still got it. Still very much in the mix in that division.
Yeah, he got $50K for one of the performance of the night for his submission there. This was his 14th UFC finish. That's right behind Matt Brown for the most all-time in the division, and 23rd win, 20th stoppage win, and his 9th submission. Man, lots of impressive records there. In his corner, he's got Gregory Rodriguez, Robocop, Gilbert Burns, and Henry Hooft, like 3 of the top fighters of all time. So pretty impressive camp there. He called out Jorge Masvidal. That would be pretty awesome. He wants to fight in Miami in, I think it's February, so that would be super cool.
That would be a great fight. That would be a great fight. It's a great call out. I don't know if Masvidal would want that fight, but he should. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Quickly, did you hear that Seattle's UFC coming? It's February. Tickets go on sale Friday.
Oh, wow.
First
I did not
time
hear about that.
UFC's visited Seattle since 2013 when you were there.
Yep. Because I believe UFC has been to Seattle 2 to 3 times. I think I've been there every single time. So maybe
we'll take a look. Take a look. Incredible fight between Movsar Evloev and Aljamain Sterling. I love this fight. This should have been on the main card. And I thought Evloev ended up taking the last 2 rounds. I thought Aljo got the first round, but Evloev ended up turning it around, getting more ground control, was able to just be a little bit better. So many incredible reverses.
And scrambles.
Just scrambles. Both guys are incredibly skilled. I feel for Aljamain, but I think Evloev did pull out the decision in my mind and got the nod.
Yep, I think so too. I think he was just that tad bit better in the wrestling aspect in the rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And it was super close. Super close.
So what do we see for Evloev next? He was number 5 going in, fighting number 9 Aljamain. We've got the champion Ilya Topuria, Alex Volkanovski. Supposedly that's going to happen. Second fight for them. Max Holloway, I've heard he's done now. He's going to move up to lightweight, I've heard. And so then we've got Diego Lopez sitting at 3. Yair Rodriguez. After that, Yair, I think, is already scheduled to fight Mexico in February. Diego Lopez and Movsar have already fought. They fought in UFC 288 in May. Movsar obviously getting the win. So I don't know. Where do we go? Kind of in a no-win situation, really. Don't know.
Yeah.
You know, everybody else sort of already committed, and maybe he has to wait a little while.
I think he has to wait because I know that Diego wouldn't want to fight him again. Because if I'm Diego, I'm just waiting for that fight between Topuria and Volkanovski.
Right.
Because once that's done, I'm in.
Got it. Yeah.
So not putting that at risk.
Not doing that. Okay, the fight that kicked off the prelims was your boy Randy Rude Boy Brown against Brian the Butcher Battle. I had Battle winning this. I had Randy winning the first round, and then Battle figured out how to get the fight to the clinch work, utilized a lot of knees, strikes, elbows, dominated the clinch work for the second part of the fight, the last 2 rounds. He won by split decision. Boos were raining down, but I think they got this right. I was hoping for Randy Brown, and I thought after that incredible first round, he was going to take this, but Battle ended up winning.
I actually had Battle winning this fight, to be honest with you. And it was super close. Sure. Like Brown, definitely, I thought he had the first round, but Battle managed to adjust, figured it out. Yep. And then rounds 2 and 3, he came back pretty good. But this was a very, very tough one to judge, very hard one. So this is one where I give the judges credit. Split decision, okay with it.
Sure.
Okay with this one. This one was fine.
Yeah. No, I had Battle winning, but split decision there. Yeah. I know you didn't get to see the early prelims. I just want to mention that Eric Anders was able to beat Chris Weidman. I think Weidman's retiring now. Joshua Van, very impressive performance, win over Cody Durden. Michael Chiesa getting a very big submission win over Max Griffin. Chase Hooper ended up getting $50K for his submission victory over Clay Guida. Guida has retired after a very decorated career. And Kennedy Njechku also got 50K for his first round knockout out of over Luka Brzezinski. And great early prelims. You're gonna have to try to watch them this week. And then briefly, I just want to say the fight night coming up this week, last card of the entire year. This is taking place down in Amalie Arena, Tampa, Florida. The main event is Colby Covington against Joaquin Buckley. Buckley was supposed to fight Gary this week, but they moved in Covington. We'll see how this plays out. Buckley's on a hot streak, has won 4 in a row, and really looking fantastic. Colby's just alternated wins and losses since the past 5 years. And we'll see. Should be a good fight, but I think Buckley, I would kind of give the nod to.
I'm going to give the nod to Buckley just because he's actually been active.
Yeah.
He's been fighting. And Colby Covington is like he fights like what, once every year or every year and a half right now, it seems to be. So I'm definitely giving I'm definitely giving the nod to Joaquin Buckley. I think he's on the rise. I think Colby is coming down from his rankings right now, like where he was or where he sat at. Like I think he has his number.
Yeah, Colby's lost to Usman twice. He beat some guys that were way past their prime. He beat Masvidal, he beat Woodley, but he beat Lawler. A lot of the guys that were just on the last legs of their career. So Joaquin's looking like the guy that's on the rise, and Covington on the way down. Co-main Cub Swanson. I mentioned it earlier. One of my favorite fighters. He's actually won. He's had 14 performance of the night bonuses in his career, 11 fight of the nights, 3 knockout of the nights, and never in a boring fight. This guy is one of my favorite fighters. Billy Quarantillo is going to bring it, I'm sure. Also in a lot of wars. He alternates wins and losses all the time. And it should be a great fight. I think it's going to be the fight of the night.
I think it's going to be fight of the night too. I absolutely agree with you. Cub Swanson is not in boring fights. Billy Quarantillo is more than willing to engage. It's going to be a great fight.
Yeah.
Period.
The fight between Manuel Cape and Bruno Silva should be great. Both these guys have fought a lot of the tough guys. Actually, Cape was the champion in Ryzen. He beat Kai Asakura to get the belt. He also fought Pantoja. So the two guys were in the main event last week. Both fought Cape, and the last fight that he won was against Mohamed Makayev, won by decision. He's on a 4-fight win streak. Bruno the Bulldog Silva, he's pretty solid. He's on a 4-fight win streak too. And Cody Durden, who fought this week, was his last fight. And it should be great. I'm looking forward to it. Vitor Petrino against Dustin Jacoby should be a fun fight. Both light heavyweights coming in. Vitor is coming in on a loss to Anthony Lionheart Smith, but he also lost to Dominic Reyes, who they fought together. Jacoby's the former kickboxer turned MMA guy. He's had an up and down career. His last win was against Kennedy Njechku, we just talked about. But he's fought tons of killers in the UFC. He also fought Alex Pereira when he was a kickboxer back in Glory. So the guy's been fighting killers for his entire time. I think this should be a great battle back and forth between the two.
It should be a great battle back and forth between the two. It should be highly engaging. I think it's not going to make it to the last round.
True. And we got our Squamish girl, Jamie Lynn Horth. She's stepping in on short notice to fight Miranda Maverick. Great to see some local flavor there. A lot of good fights on the prelim card too, and we'll break it down in a week from now. Last card of the year. Can you believe it?
Yeah, no, I can't believe it. It always comes so quickly, but another year done.
We don't have a card till like a month from now. After this one, we don't have a card till mid-January. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird.
That 311 card, holy crap, man, that looks impressive. unbelievably stacked right now.
No, it looks really good. Really, really, really good. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Okay, well, we made it just before tip-off. Kickoff for the Monday Nighter. So enjoy that. Enjoy the NBA Cup this week. Have a great week ahead, and I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
You betcha, man. Enjoy yourself and have a great evening.
Thanks, Jason. All the best, man. Bye for now. Okay, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Just sign off and appreciate your support as always. Thanks to our partners and sponsors. Love you guys lots. Appreciate it. And we will talk soon. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.